545 and your flex at 345. Before we do, let's introduce you to the rest of the crew. He was a second-round pick for the Montreal Expos, but a first-round pick for the Austin Radio Network. He originally committed to the University of Texas, but decided to forego the 40 acres and chase his dream in the cheese. Pippin ain't easy, but for this man, it's a breeze. He is the birthday boy, Mike Hardball Harge. Happy B-Day.
Appreciate it,
man.
appreciate it. Happy Friday. I'm so excited. The weekend is here. I got to head to Houston today
H-Town.
for my son's soccer tournament.
Yeah.
But I am excited to be here. One more trip around the sun, my brother, and I'm glad that you are letting me be a part of the show today and enjoying ourselves, because it was this time last year that you and I were having these conversations about me joining these airways, and I invited you to my birthday party, and you was like, bruh, I'm headed to Houston this weekend.
Yeah.
You were headed out of town. So guess what? I'm going to Houston this weekend.
Full circle, baby.
Full circle, and I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad we get a chance to celebrate today on the airways. But let me talk about the man that sits across from me every single day. He hails from H-Town with the Get Down. He's a lifetime Longhorn and a very proud card-carrying member of DBU. Legendary lifetime Hall of Fame member Derek Johnson said he was the best cover corner he had ever seen. He's a former NFL DB that still has that passion for film study, but he's not a fan of white condiments. But he is a fan of you, the ARN listener. My man and yours, Rod Babers.
Appreciate that. Let's not waste any time introducing the real MVP. He's got a hustler spirit, period. Also, we don't know what he's paid. We know he's underpaid. Also, he's also the owner of Lou, the unofficial mascot of Ball Don't Lie. It is Patrick Davis. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Happy birthday, Mr. Harge.
My man. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah. So, do you want to tell people how old you are, or you want to keep that to yourself?
I'm 51, man. I ain't gonna lie to the people.
Some people don't like to reveal that.
But when you get to this age, it's like you've been watching Seinfeld forever. Nobody really cares, right? You're just like, I'm 51. I'm set in my ways. I ain't changing. So it is what it is. So your boy is 51 years old. People have been telling me I don't look a day over 50. I said, you a lie, because I'm 51.
Yeah, my trick was always, I tell people I'm like 15 years older than I am, and then I look great for 53.
There it is.
That is true. That's a great way to do it. I don't mind that at all. That's a good way to do it. All right, if you want to wish my man Harge a happy B-Day, you can do it on the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. You also can hit us up via Twitter. He's at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. And my man Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis in the Twitterverse. All right, we got a lot to get into. We'll review the conference championships. We're going to hit them from every different angle. We talked about that yesterday a little bit, but this show will fully devote ourselves to breaking down the conference championships. Also, if there is any breaking news from the NFL, we'll let you know about that. I know a lot of Cowboys fans, including my man Harge, they're looking out. They keep refreshing the Twitter page and the Twitterverse to try to see if there's any news on Kellen Moore. Because yesterday it was reported that Mike McCarthy would not guarantee the return of Kellen Moore for next season for the Cowboys, and he said they were going to have their evaluation, essentially their exit meeting or end of season evaluation meetings. They're going to have that he said at latest it was going to be today. So at the latest it was going to be Friday, and if there was going to be any news, we assume it'll happen at some point before close of business, if there's any news. There may not be any news at all, other than, Kellen Moore is coming back. Maybe that is the news. A lot of Cowboys fans are hoping it's something else.
Well, as I sit back and I think about everything, and I was talking to some friends today at lunch, and everybody keeps trying to figure out what's next for the Dallas Cowboys. And I keep always going back to what you say, that analogy about marriage, right? You keep talking about the marriage, and maybe sometimes you just reach your ceiling in the relationship. Sometimes things just don't work out. But, and you've brought this up numerous times, when you go to couples therapy, that means that some things aren't good, right? So is that where the Cowboys are? Is this the meeting that Mike McCarthy's in charge of? He's having the exit meeting. Is he at couples therapy? You go see your therapist first and say, hey, man, I want to keep you here. I want to keep you here. But what are you going to do to change, to break that glass and get through that ceiling? And then does he bring Dak in? Did he bring Dak in first? And say, hey, man, what's the relationship with you and Kellen? Are you good here? Are you happy about this? Or do we need to make some changes? Or take it to another level. Did Jerry walk into the room and say, you got to make some hard decisions? I love Kellen Moore. That's why I kept him here. That's why I was going to make him my starting quarterback at the very beginning. And then he ended up getting hurt. That's why I put him as the quarterback coach. What are you going to do differently? Is he the answer? Because now you're on thin ice as well. There's a lot that is in this triangle of this relationship that needs to happen. But let me ask you, Rod, you break down the film. You're a big fan of Kellen Moore. You've talked about it numerous times. Does Kellen Moore seem to be the answer, or does it need to change?
Well, that's not really the question, because you can't change anything other than Kellen Moore. That's the point. If you're going to make a change, it's not going to happen with Dak. So
for sure,
you cannot.
For sure,
there's no way salary cap wise, without totally, essentially tanking the rest of your, the next couple of seasons.
Can't do that.
Salary cap wise, if you trade or try to, remove or extract yourself from Dak in some type of way, that's not going to happen. So for me, I don't necessarily think it is a question of, what they can do with Dak and with Kellen Moore. No, because Dak is there to stay. Dak ain't going anywhere. So the question is, what are you going to do with Kellen Moore? And what are you going to do with Mike McCarthy? Mike McCarthy staying, Dak staying. So there you go.
There it is.
So if there is going to be a change, we already know where the change is happening. They've already guaranteed the return of Mike McCarthy. Everybody knows Dak Prescott is Dak Prescott. He's a franchise, and you're paying him you're about to be paying him $40-something million, whatever it is. So those two things right now are the only things that there are known factors in this, problem we're trying to figure out in this equation. And right now, Kellen Moore is the unknown factor. To me, that's why he's the unknown factor, because he's the one thing that they can change.
The common denominator, right?
He's the one thing they can't change. Mike McCarthy is not going to fire himself, and obviously Jerry Jones is not ready to fire Mike McCarthy, and there's no way they're going to try to emancipate themselves from Dak Prescott. That ain't happening either. So that's why Kellen Moore is on the hot seat, and Kellen Moore is probably out, even though there's no guarantee Kellen Moore is the issue.
Right.
I'm not saying Kellen Moore isn't the issue, but it could also just be Dak Prescott hitting a ceiling. We don't know. That's why I think they're going to try and experiment potentially with a new offensive coordinator. And then the question is, who do you bring in as the offensive coordinator? Or does Mike McCarthy take more of a hands-on approach, and then it's Mike McCarthy's offense instead of Kellen Moore's offense? Because obviously they've been running Kellen Moore's offense still.
Very fair.
Because they haven't really changed the offense much. Even when it was under Jason Garrett, it still looks pretty much like the same offense.
The exact same.
I mean, there are some differences, but I think that's just the growth and maturation of Kellen Moore as a play caller and as a play designer. And I think Jerry and maybe a lot of other people want to see Mike McCarthy's offense. Let's see what Mike McCarthy's offense is with Dak Prescott, and maybe it's an offense that'll be able to maximize Dak's talent fully.
Right.
So.
Right.
And whoever you bring in as the OC, unless they're bringing in a system that they run, like I said, I think Mike McCarthy is probably going to have to be more hands-on. And then if he can't do it, bring out the best in Dak, then I think the Cowboys will be ready to move on past Mike McCarthy, and then maybe even past Dak.
I was just going to say, at that point, it may be both of them.
Yeah, if we're 2 years down the line, 3 years down, having the same conversation we are now, then you could legitimately say, salary cap-wise, it'll be a much more feasible option for the Cowboys to move on from Dak Prescott as well. Right now, it's not.
Right.
Right now, you're handcuffed to him. That's it.
Right. And you signed that big contract, and like Patrick was talking about the other day, when you start looking at the contract breakdown, the only option that you have to even get out of it is after the 23 season. You still have an opportunity to get out of that contract after the 23 season, where it's not a big salary cap hit to you, which is, something that is Jerry ready to take that step? And the question that was just posed to us was, when was the last time the Cowboys took a quarterback in the first round? It had to be Troy Aikman. I think he was the last quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys that were drafted in the first round.
Yeah, they took. It's got to be that. And
it has to be Troy.
Yeah, it has to be Troy. I mean, the Cowboys have drafted the second fewest quarterbacks in the NFL.
Right, you talked about
in the
that.
last 20-some years. I literally did. Raj ran about it yesterday.
Yep.
The Cowboys just don't draft quarterbacks
That's
for
not
some
who they
reason. I don't know why, but organizationally, they don't necessarily believe that they need to keep drafting quarterbacks. Not always in the first round. Of course, sometimes that's the case. But just, hell, like the 49ers. 49ers have drafted, 13 quarterbacks?
Yeah, they keep making it happen.
Since 2000. And a part of that is it's a healthy organizational habit to draft quarterbacks. It is. Yeah, San Francisco's drafted 13 of them. And that doesn't include, acquisitions like Steve Young way back in the day and stuff like that. Like, as an organization, since Bill Walsh pretty much put his blueprint in place and his fingerprints on the organization, they've been a quarterback-centric organization. Therefore, they've always drafted and acquired quarterbacks. And it's a healthy habit. And for some reason, the Cowboys do not believe in it, and I don't know why. And hell, New England was like that forever with Tom Brady. I brought that up several times. Baltimore has drafted 10 in that time span. Like I said, some teams are drafting out of desperation. The Jets have drafted 13 in that time span. So has Washington. So, yes, there are teams that do it out of desperation, but there are also teams like the Green Bay Packers who do it because it is a healthy organizational habit to draft quarterbacks, whether you're drafting them for the future, developmental, for an insurance policy behind your quarterback, or whether you're just drafting the quarterback to try to see exactly what that quarterback, the upside of that quarterback could be, like a Brock Purdy, and look what the upside is. I just don't understand why the Cowboys won't do it, and they've been the luckiest franchise when it comes to quarterback in the NFL. There's nobody luckier. Think of how many undrafted free agents have become franchise quarterbacks other than Kurt Warner and Tony Romo. It's just not a ton.
Yeah, it doesn't go down like that.
It's really hard to think of some. Yeah. And the Cowboys ended up with one of those, and then they lucked and stumbled onto Dak Prescott with a fourth-round pick when they wanted Connor Cook and Paxton Lynch. So I would love for them, and I said it yesterday, I'd love for them just to start drafting quarterbacks. Ron Wolf, famously, Hall of Fame GM for the Packers, said, I'd draft one every year if they let me. I agree.
Right.
Draft one every year. And then you can continuously keep resetting the organization if you hit on one of those quarterbacks. And all you got to do is hit on one.
Right.
Keep drafting, you hit on one. Hell, sometimes you hit on more than one, like the 49ers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like the Philadelphia Eagles did. Like you keep drafting them and you go, oh man, I hit on another quarterback.
Isn't it amazing how Philly always finds one? They found them numerous times.
Because they keep drafting them, too. They drafted 9 since 2000. Like, just keep drafting them.
Right.
Draft one every other year.
Yeah.
Just as a healthy habit. And you go, oh,
because the Cowboys will draft players randomly, and they don't even – like Tolbert right now. He may be a guy that hits later because you drafted him, okay? He's a wide receiver. He may not – the game might have been too fast for him, or maybe he wasn't focused. But if he comes back in next year and he goes out and has a big year, then we'll say, okay, I understand why they did that. They did their thing, blah, blah, blah. But if he doesn't, that was a wasted pick right there because you could have gotten a quarterback in that draft. That's like you said, you may or may not hit on him, but you're picking a position at wide receiver that is so deep that you're not making the adjustments. That's the frustrating part about it. And to your point, that's why the Cowboys have been that team where everybody is like, what are they doing every single year? Patrick, you brought it up. I was like, the wrong Tyler. That's the wrong Tyler. Well, that's the wrong position. You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you not providing depth at the position that is the most valuable in the NFL? Brock Purdy's Mr. Irrelevant, and now he's up for Rookie of the Year. Yeah. Which people are still asking the question, how? He only played X amount of games. Agreed. I don't know how he's in the conversation, but what are we doing?
And if you want to be the most homegrown team, it seems like the position that is the hardest to find anyway other than drafting is quarterback. Because if you get a good one, you're never letting go of them. So it's really hard to find a good quarterback through any other means other than the draft. So everywhere else you can go, hey, man, we can be homegrown, but you know what? We got to go sign a guy in this position, fill this hole with a free agent. Mm-hmm. But there's guys out there for all this. We need to draft quarterbacks because we want to be homegrown. We want to find our own guys.
Yep.
And we know if Dak gets hurt, well, we're out of luck because we don't have anybody.
Yep.
We decided not to draft anybody. And then we draft somebody late in the 6th, 7th round, and you can get Brock Purdy, but most of the time you're going to get a guy who, at best, is a backup.
Mm-hmm. It's not something right now that the Cowboys can fix or even focus on. So their draft this past year, I get why they had to draft Tyler Smith and all that. I get why they made the picks that they did. My point is, this is something you look back, retrospectively, you look back, 20, 25 years, really since Jerry Jones took over, and it's a bad organizational habit. And now that we have a large enough sample size, we know that they refuse to draft any type of quarterback. And ultimately, like I said, they looked into Dak, and that was the right decision for them to make Dak their franchise quarterback. But my point being, you might not have had to be in a position and have to handcuff yourself desperately to Dak if you had a better habit of just drafting quarterbacks, not really high in the draft, just drafting them every so often, middle to late rounds. And I think ultimately the happy accident that Dak was, I would say Dak's Viagra. They didn't plan on discovering Viagra. It was a happy accident. It was some heart medication or something, and the patients would wake up, and they would wake up at attention
strong
every morning, right?
They woke up strong.
The hardcore at attention.
Yeah.
And then they decided, you know what? This drug actually works better. That side effect is more consistent. The byproduct is more consistent than the actual purpose of the drug. So let's just turn it into Viagra and say that it's for what it's for.
Well, they always say on the drug, the side effects,
whatever it is.
Side effects may be this.
Yeah, exactly. And that's Dak, though, right? Yeah. Dak was a happy accident. They thought it was going to be Connor Cook, thought it'd be Paxton Lynch. Oh, they stumbled upon Dak Prescott and went, oh, man, he's a franchise quarterback. After Romo gets hurt, Kellen Moore gets hurt, and then Dak comes out and just plays like gangbusters. And that's great because I truly believe, I've said it before, nobody knows what the hell they're doing when it comes to quarterback. Nobody. So it's no shame in not knowing what you're doing. But the Cowboys don't give themselves enough margin for error.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, draft more quarterbacks, you have more margin for error. Because everybody's going to make mistakes when it comes to quarterbacks. But you can make more mistakes if you're drafting more quarterbacks. The Patriots are also a great example of it. For years, they just kept drafting quarterbacks, even with Tom Brady. And what they do, trade them for picks. Some of them became backups for him. Some of those guys became developmental projects. Yeah, they just kept Tom Brady the whole time. But that healthy habit actually gained them a lot of draft capital in the end. And it gave them a way to reset. They didn't do it with Jimmy G. They decided to pass on Jimmy G's reset. But the only way to reset your organization is to draft quarterbacks.
Right.
That's it. The NFL
most important position.
Yeah, the NFL decided to give you a tax break. I mean, that's what the rookie wage scale is in the quarterback position. They decided we're going to give you a tax break. And just like our tax code, Uncle Sam gives you tax breaks for things that are good for the economy, that stimulate the economy, that are good for our way of life. Starting a family, you get tax break. You own your own property, tax break. Own your house, tax break. Start your business, tax break. Quarterbacks are good for the NFL. Yep. They are the faces of the NFL. They sell jerseys, fantasy football, points, everything. That's why the NFL is like, no, we need quarterbacks. Even if they fail miserably, people have more fun talking about failed bust quarterbacks than they do talking about some really good defensive end.
Yep.
Some really good T tackle. That's what the NFL, and the NFL's been smart about that because they don't sell violence and physicality anymore. They sell quarterbacks and they sell, points and they sell offense. And that's why they've basically decided, listen, if you want to experiment every 3 or 4 years with a quarterback and then decide after 3 or 4 years you want to reset, now it'll cost you money because you got to pay for it, but it'll be relatively cheap, and the NFL gives you a way to do it. You just have to do it by investing in the quarterback position, and that's why they made them so cheap with the rookie wage scale. If you don't have the right quarterback after 3 or 4 years, you can move on from them, trade them, cut them, whatever, and it really doesn't cost you much. You can draft another one real high and start over. A lot of teams don't do that. They don't take that approach. But the NFL has baked that in to the basically the new CBA and into the kind of the new salary cap. They really have baked it in. And I think teams now have understood that, even though we overvalue the quarterback position, we can reset these franchises. The Eagles are a prime example. The Eagles have figured out, there's a life cycle to this thing. There's a life cycle to our salary cap when it comes to the quarterback position. So we have to reset it. And once we get done with that 3 to 5 year cycle, reset. Because we're not going to win it. We're not going to win it doing what we're doing right now. We got to reset after every 3 to 5 years. And that's why the Eagles are where they are right now.
Yeah.
The 49ers kind of do it too. They do it to a certain extent.
Well, think about it. They got Jimmy. They had Trey Lance, but they traded for Trey.
Yep.
They drafted Brock Purdy as the Mr. Irrelevant, but before that, they drafted a quarterback as well. And then, like you said, they just keep drafting them.
The Alex Smith to the Kaepernick.
Yeah.
They understand, it's like, man, it's a 3 to 5 year window. And if we don't hit it in that 3 to 5 year window, oh, man.
Right.
And we don't have an elite quarterback like a Patrick Mahomes or a Burrow or an Allen.
Yep.
Man, what are
we doing?
What are we doing?
Yeah. What are we doing?
Why are we pounding our pounding our head against this brick wall, trying to fit a square peg into a round hole? Let's reset and start over.
Rod, the only problem is Jerry doesn't want to do that.
No, I know he doesn't.
No, I'm saying
because
that's a problem.
You're right. You take the chance of being a 5-win team then, or
right.
And, a below
you have that part where you got to
to
go out and chase it.
I get it.
But every year you're mad because other people are doing the things that they need to do to fill that void, and you're the one that does it because you think the quarterback position is just something that can be filled. It can't. The success is based on your quarterback and your head coach. You've gave the numbers. The numbers are there for a reason.
Yeah.
The percentages line up to a certain way.
Yeah. That 5-year cycle, there's a reason no coach, no head coach and quarterback have won their first championship together after 5 years of that head coach and that quarterback starting for 5 years. They have never won their first championship after 5 years.
Right.
It's never happened.
It doesn't go down like that.
And I think more so, and it's obviously pre-salary cap too, but I think once the salary cap kicked in, there's a life cycle to it.
Yeah.
And unless you find an elite quarterback, it might be worth thinking about resetting the whole damn thing.
For sure.
And they, like I said, they give you that option. A lot of teams don't like to take it. Okay, let's get to some Texas men's basketball discussion. They're on the road versus Tennessee, the other UT, U lowercase t. We'll get into that on the other side and preview that matchup right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104 Down the Horn.
Mike Harge here for All Stat Beer. Football season is winding down, and I know everybody's sad, but do you know the beautiful part about it is you can enjoy beer at any time. You know that All Stat was born in Fredericksburg, Texas, right in the heart of the Texas Hill Country. They have a beautiful state-of-the-art brewery. The brewery prides itself on award-winning German-style beers. The Great American Beer Festival just awarded the All Stat Lager a gold for the second time. They have a beautiful fine dining restaurant, and, of course, they have a tap room where you can go in there and try multiple flavors. Just do this. Plan a tour today and see it for yourself. You can enjoy some great beer with great food, and, of course, you can enjoy it with some great friends. On the weekends, the brewery also has live music, so plan a trip today. Go to allstatbeer.com to find a local watering hole where you can enjoy some, or where you can pick some up on your way home. Make Allstat your beer of choice. Allstat beer is made with 100% German ingredients. That means you get German hops, malts, and yeast. And, of course, you get that natural spring water. Allstat beer, no impurities, no regrets.
Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. 512 Friday edition of Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Also, birthday edition because my man Harge is celebrating a B-Day. So wish my man Harge a happy B-Day on the Specs text line. But 512 Friday, we play jams from local bands and artists. Very talented human beings that you can catch live right here in the ATX. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Monty Montgomery, and he is playing tonight at Saxon Pub.
Oh, nice. There you go. My man Patrick always hooking you up with great spots and great talent that you can go see and places where you can go hang out right here in the ATX for 512 Fridays. If you missed those, you can go to hornfm.com and he gets them posted there for you. All right, let's get to this Texas men's basketball matchup versus Tennessee this weekend because it is going to be a great matchup.
It's epic.
It really is. You're talking about a top 10 matchup. They're number 4. I believe Texas right now number 10. And Tennessee is playing some of the best basketball of any team, any college basketball team in the country right now. They've won, I think, 11 games by 20-plus points. That is the most in their program history already. I mean, They are winning in a dominant fashion, and they do it just like Texas does with defense. That's their calling card, and they may have the best defense in the country. This is the 9th straight week that Tennessee has basically been ranked as the best adjusted defensive efficiency team in the country from the Ken Palm rankings. They're the best field goal percentage defense in the country. Their 3-point defense also the best, 21.6% allowed there. And no team has scored more than 70 points on Tennessee in more than a month. The last team to score more than 70 was at Arizona. They scored 75. That's also the last time a team beat Tennessee, gentlemen.
Yeah, this is going to be a top of the line contest because both coaches know each other so well. Both coaches understand who each person is. They understand the ins and out of each other as far as how you like to run your offense, where you like to be, how you like to run this. But the thing that I'm looking forward to is the guard play by both teams. Obviously, Texas has been depending upon Marcus Carr for a lot of their success. Well, Rick Barnes' team does the same, and they're a very physical basketball team as well. So this is one of those contests where, the coaching staffs know each other so well, but this is a bigger thing for the players. As the players go out there and what they're able to do, you're starting to see this. And for me, this is the biggest test for Dylan DeSue, Bishop, and Timmy Allen because Tennessee has some bigs that can go in there, and their main goal is to beat you up. They want to beat you up. Yeah. And if it comes down to foul trouble, I'm worried about Texas. If they let them go out there and they both become physical, I'm cool with this game. I think that Texas truly has a big-time shot, and the challenge for them has been mental, and this is the biggest mental road test for them.
I totally agree with that. No doubt.
And knowing the way Rick Barnes coaches, I'm sure that both him and Rodney are going to go up to the refs before the game and go, hey, man, let him play.
Yeah.
Let him play. Hey, man, if you want to give it one way or the other, go more lenient.
Okay.
We're happy with it because I know Rick Barnes has always coached that way. I know Texas has been that way for a while now. Is if we prefer that you would let a few things slide and we'll tell our guards they're going to have to figure it out.
Yep.
We think they're good enough to get through that, but if you call everything inside, this is going to be a long game, and we don't want that. I will say I think it's going to be a big game for our guards, and especially Marcus Carr, is that he's going to have to keep his turnovers down.
Absolutely.
And this is a game where you can get to the paint and score. They don't necessarily have great rim protection, but they're really good at stopping you before you're getting there and getting the ball out from you and cutting off pass. So it's something where you have to be careful not to make, weak passes, trying to do too much and get in the paint, dribbling too much. All those things lead to turnovers, lead to possessions without shots in them, which are just lost possessions. And
I hate lost possessions.
We all hate lost possessions. So
I hate lost possessions.
And that's when I think it's going to be very big for Marcus Carr to not only does he need to score and be productive against a very good defense, you also have to keep those turnovers down.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's a big part of it. I mean, this could end up being a game where there are a lot of different factors that could play a role. I think you're right about how they call the game, which means free throw shooting could be big.
Which is good for Texas.
That is good. They've been shooting really well from the free throw line
Yep.
lately. Turnovers, of course, could end up being really big in this matchup. Tennessee just got, they had, what's his name, Zachary Ziegler, who was dealing with an injury, but he's been back for the last couple of games, and, man, he's been playing phenomenal.
He's a beast, man.
Yeah, they got to figure out a way to neutralize him. He's got, in the last 3 games, how about this, 21 assists and 9 steals, 9 3-pointers in the 3 games since he returned to the starting lineup. And, yeah, he's averaging.
He's doing his thing.
In SEC play, he's averaging over 7 assists per game in SEC play.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's
nice.
He's the straw that stirs the drink for them, and I know they got ballers all over the place. They just one guy because Santiago Vescovi, is that his name?
I will go with that.
Vescovi.
Yeah,
he's scary too. And he really is. I mean, he's the leading scorer, I believe, around a little over 12 points per game. But man,
12.2.
Yeah, but if watching the games, or at least watching the last 3 games, man, Zachary Ziegler's he's playing the best basketball maybe of anybody on the team right now offensively.
Yeah, that's going to be the guard matchup. They play, their offense is a little bit different than what Texas would play like, right? So they have a 2-guard set. Texas likes to play the 3-guard set a lot of the time. But their guys are 5'9", a little short guy, and then it's 6'3", 6'8", 6'6", and 6'9". So that is why I keep saying if they let them play, number one, and number two, if they can match the physicality which is played in the SEC by what they've been doing throughout the season, Texas has a really good shot at winning this game going into Knoxville, Tennessee. Yeah. I firmly believe that. But to what Patrick was saying about Marcus Carr, which Marcus Carr are we going to get? Is this the game where he tries to showcase himself, or does he try to showcase his teammates and then find his flow? Because if they if they can get into this game early, this could be a big, big Saturday for the Texas Longhorn basketball team.
Yeah, Marcus Carr, he's leading the team in scoring, assists, steals, minutes per game.
MVP.
Yeah, shooting
Big 12 player of the year.
42% from three-point range. And he scored at least 20 points on 6 different occasions so far this year. And, yeah, his mid-range game has been immaculate lately. Love is the step-back jumper that he's kind of making his signature. He has been phenomenal, so I'm with you, how he starts, and more importantly, if he's able to get others involved and create for others, that would help. The juice that you've gotten from guys like Dylan Disu lately, though, too, man, if Dylan Disu stays on this pace, and he's been great the last 3 games, averaging nearly like 12 points a game, but he's been really good just on both ends of the floor for you. That's another guy that hopefully that continues and that travels on the road for you. That can be big going up against a team like Tennessee.
Yeah, and I think that this is going to be – you could see parts in this game too where both teams play a little bit more small ball, and you basically go into it with Timmy Allen at the 4 and a Disu or a Christian Bishop at the 5, just because both teams do have a lot of guards that can play really well, and they have a few guards with size, Tennessee does. So you're able to put together a lineup where you could see, especially if there is foul trouble and they do start calling fouls on both sides, where they just go, hey, man, let's go smaller and try and outrun them. And if they go that way, then it'll be an interesting game. But I agree, that's still a point where if you're running small ball lineups, that is where a Dylan Disu can feast, because it's a lot harder to get help defense on a small ball, and you got to hit threes. And, you just got to shoot about 35-40%. But if you can shoot 35-40% instead of 20%, that's how you break defenses. And that's, again, where we get back to Marcus Carr not turning the ball over, because we see a lot of the times where he gets a little too dribbly is where three-pointers aren't falling. So the defense is able to play a lot more on ball. And once you get to there, it's where he's trying to get to the paint. Guys keep moving over. Guys aren't spread out as much because they're not having to cover out and cover the three-point line as hard. And then you get into dribbling into traffic, and that's where turnovers happen.
Best three-point defense in the country, too. Yeah, I mean, it's the best defense argument in the country, period. Doesn't matter. But, I mean, Texas, we know that Texas can score against good defense because they play in the Big 12. So that's, that gives even, we talked about that versus Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State, not really a prolific offense, but they were one of the better defense in the country, and Texas scored a lot of points. So Texas can score. Really it's about being on the road and dealing with the inevitable adversity and what form it's going to take, whether it's officiating, whether it's foul trouble, whether something's gonna happen, whether it's a drought. Please don't be a drought. You know what I mean?
Please don't go to that one that we saw just recently.
Exactly.
Where it was like, what was it, 18 minutes? They went 9-9 in both halves.
They went, one was 10 and one was like,
8.
One was 8.
I was like, don't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't do that.
You're on the road. On the road, you're going to see facing a top 5 team. There's going to be some adverse, especially playing. At their place, they're going to be hype. What is it? Is it not game day? Who's in town?
Yeah, it is game day.
Oh, they call it game day too?
Yeah, it's college game day.
I thought they called it. No. I know they called it game day too.
Yeah, they call it game day.
The game day is going to be in town, so it's going to be hype. And like I said,
it's going to be lit.
Yeah, it could be a slow start for Texas, which is also something that's happened for Texas. A slow start to a game, so there will be something that they have to overcome in this contest to win it.
Yeah,
they're not going to play a perfect game.
No.
It's just not going to happen. And that'll really be to me the narrative and how Coach Terry handles it. He's doing really well. I would say coaches are problem solvers, solving problems for this Longhorn basketball team when they've arisen. Sometimes he has to do it after a loss, but that happens because you're playing in the most competitive conference in the country. But sometimes he's doing them in game. Love the story that Patrick told a couple of weeks ago about him, breaking out the video and showing the guys, what they were missing and what they had to do and the adjustments that needed to be made, but making sure they saw it visually. So that they could go out there and execute. So that's what he's going to do in this game too. He's going to be a coach, man. Solve the problems.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. This is going to be because we've seen Texas so many times this season get loose with the ball, and if you do that early against this Tennessee team, it could be really quickly 8-0, 12, 12-4, something like that, and you just get that point where it's like you got to climb for the entire first half to try and stay in it, so that you can get into the second half and try and go win the game. You don't want to do that. You want to protect the ball early. And even if you're not making shots, you need to be getting shots up, and you need to be trying to attack that rim, because that's when Texas offense looks the best, is when they are able to play inside out, but not necessarily post player inside out, old school way, but by driving to the paint, making the defense start to collapse, pull off of those 3-point shooters, and then you can get some big open threes, which makes them come back out, go back inside, and just work that way on the defense for the rest of the game.
Yeah,
totally agree.
I love it.
Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a challenge. I'm excited for them. I was looking at the roster, and man, Tennessee is just deep. That is a deep squad, man. Texas is deep.
They're built in Rick Barnes' identity, right? That's who they are. That's who he is.
Yeah, they're tough as nails.
Exactly.
Because Rick Barnes always had tough teams. So yeah, it'll be right now. They are, like I said, considered to be the best defense in the country. So Texas will be tested, no doubt. But Texas, as long as their defense travels, they'll be in the game.
No doubt.
That is
that's the most important part for Texas.
Texas defense travels, they'll be in the game in clutch time. And then it's about going to win the game in clutch time. And I think just like all the Big 12 games, this game will come down to the last 5 minutes, and the game will be close within 5 points. Who pulls away, who separates, probably based on clutch performances by your big-time players.
Hello.
Sir'Jabari Rice. Timmy Allen.
I think he's going to be between Sir'Jabari and Bryce Cunningham. I mean, Brock Cunningham. I was like, Bryce? Who's Brock?
That's his brother.
That's Ken Fogg. It's his twin. Between those two, I think those are going to be the X factors in the game tomorrow.
That's big. Yeah, Brock's been – man, I love the stat. I think Craig Way gave the stat that he's shooting like 50% from three-point range in Big 12 play.
Yeah.
He's been unbelievable.
Yeah, he's been on point. And that's why I believe that those two – are going to be the X factors to win the game. I know that sounds like I'm going out on a limb on those two because, Sir'Jabari Rice has been a major factor coming off the bench, but those two, because Brock is so physical, and how is he going to handle it? Going back to what we were talking about with the referees. Are they going to let them play, or are they going to be calling those chippy fouls? Because Brock has been borderline. He could have fouled out in a lot of games because of the way that he plays.
And his reputation.
And he's got a history of
he's got
it,
a
right?
reputation.
So I'm hoping that they let him go out there and be that physical player that he enjoys being and letting him play a little bit. I understand there's going to be some fouls that you have to call, but most part, let them go out there and play.
Tennessee 9-1 in home games. It's hard. They're that team that's hard to beat at home. But Texas has been, decent on the road as well. So big test, biggest test yet to date for Texas on the road. Looking forward to that Saturday. You'll be able to hear it right here on 104.9 The Horn. Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit more in the 6 o'clock. We'll get to breaking it down, but we'll come back, get into the flex, and then top of the 4 o'clock, we'll get back to conference championship previews. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my friends over at Twin Peaks because they can be your friends as well because they have the best happy hour in the city. And trust me, folks, it is worth a visit from you. Monday through Friday, 2 to 7 p.m. And if you're a baller on a budget, you'll appreciate their happy hour just that much more. You can score sweet deals like $1 off all wine, liquor, cheap shots, and freezing cold 29-degree draft brews. And if you're feeling a little peckish, they got $2, $4, and $6 appetizers. And if you're a night owl like me, you'll love those late night specials as well at Twin Peaks. Just go to twinpeaksrestaurant.com and find out what late night specials may be happening at your local Twin Peaks, the Stastny location, the San Marcos location, or the Round Rock location. I'm also a big fan of their menu. They have a great menu, a scratch menu. Every delicious dish on the menu is made from scratch. So if you're thinking about a new favorite spot for lunch, for dinner, or those late night eats, don't forget about Twin Peaks. Perfect place if you're a baller on the budget. Perfect place if you want to watch your favorite team or your favorite sport. It is a great sports bar, but so much more than just a sports bar. So go check out Twin Peaks, twinpeaksrestaurant.com. That's Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, and scenic views. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. 512 Friday edition of Ball Don't Lie. We play jams that, actually jams from very talented human beings that you can hear live right here in the ATX. My man Patrick lets you know exactly how you can do that. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Otis Wilkins, and he is playing tomorrow at Hole in the Wall.
Otis? You talking about Otis over there?
There you go, my man Patrick, hooking you up. 512 Friday. You miss any of those suggestions for a 512 Friday, please go to hornfm.com, and you can catch up with them there. He'll have them listed there for you. Okay, FLXATX.com, FLXATX on all of your social media platforms. And right now, actually, shout out to my man Anthony Williams because his It's My Time showcase for local unsigned seniors and JUCO transfer portal players. That showcase, actually, which is happening February 5th, there's more information about how you can take part in that showcase up on the Flex website. There you go. You can check that out, too. He's always trying to show some love and give the young student-athletes out there a chance to showcase themselves and to put their skill set on a much bigger platform. So shout out to my man Anthony Williams, man. He's always doing good work.
Now, the funny thing about that is, and I had a chance to talk to Anthony last night because he came and hung out for a little bit, and we got a chance to break it all down. The funny part about it is a lot of these kids that they're not the number one guys in the nation, right? You're not getting the Notre Dames. You're not getting the University of Texas, Baylor, whichever school D1 that you're looking at. But there's also a lot of opportunities for you at the JUCO level. There's a lot of opportunities for you at the Division II, the 1AA, and this is your time. If you missed out on your opportunity to go to some of these D1 schools that your goal was always to be that, everybody has that goal. Yep. But sometimes it's not for you. But you can go and be successful at another level and then get those opportunities. The transfer portal is always open. Go out there, give yourself a shot, and get a chance to get in front of some of these coaches. But I will tell you this, and this is something that Anthony and his crew are always talking about. If you don't know what your grades are, what your GPA is, what's going on with you in school, that is probably why you're not getting some of those looks. But I will talk about something in the Hard Knocks life when we come up, that the NCAA just passed a rule just recently where you're not having to take the ACT and the SAT anymore to get into Division I schools. What you need to do is make sure your core classes are setting you up to be able to get in now.
Yeah.
So that's a huge, huge news by the NCAA.
Yeah, I mean, that is new.
Yeah.
Brand
new.
Yeah, I was going to say, because the SAT, I remember having to have a certain score just to qualify.
Oh, my gosh. Multiple-time tester.
I remember that. And so you can go check it out, man. That's it's a really cool showcase that's happening February 5th. And as Harsh mentioned, if you don't have, the star rankings, you haven't been getting a lot of offers, it's a great way for you to get some certified testing results, number one.
Exactly.
Because they use the same kind of verified laser testing that they do at the Combine, they do at the National Combine. So that's something you can also get in addition to having the grades. As my man Harsh mentioned, you got to have the grades together, but you can also get your verified testing numbers for all of your drills and get some eyes on you and start some buzz. So
no doubt.
You can go check out more information about that at FLXATX.com. There's also the basketball schedule for tonight's slate of basketball games here in the area at the high school level. You can go check that out at FLXATX.com. And the interview that my man Chad and Zay did with the Stony Point basketball head coach Antoine Thompson is also up there for you. You can go check that out at FLXATX.com. All right, we come back. We are continue to celebrate Mike Hodges' birthday. So B-Day celebration, B-Day edition of Ball Don't Lie. So say what's up and happy birthday to the birthday boy. You can do that on the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. We come back. We'll break down the conference championship games from every angle. We'll start talking about the Final Four of the NFL right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Hardball Hard. Let me talk to you about my friends over at Quick Roofing. Let me ask you a quick question. How often do you think about your roof? Probably when it rains, maybe some high winds, but I guarantee you, you're not thinking about it enough. Do yourself a favor. Go over to quickroofing.com today. The story of Quick Roofing is pretty inspiring. Jeff Quick started Quick Roofing with just one roof in 1984, and now 39 years later, he's done over 200,000 projects. You can't stay in business that long if you aren't taking care of your customers, and you also have to have that great reputation for customer service. Here are some of the reasons why you should choose Quick Roofing. I did it, and I think you should too. You get a no obligation inspection. You get a free no obligation inspection. You get a 7-year workmanship warranty. Quick Roofing is fully insured and has all state and local licenses. Quick Roofing doesn't even require any money up front until 100% completion and, of course, 100% satisfaction. Quick Roofing also requires that a project manager is on every job site, ensuring that you, the customer, get everything that you were promised. So what are you waiting for? Reach out today and get that free inspection. Go to quickroofing.com today. That is quickroofing.com.
Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. 512 Friday edition of Ball Don't Lie. This is my man Patrick plays songs and some songs from a very talented human beings, very talented artists who you have a chance to see live right here in the ATX. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is the Waters, and they are playing tonight down at Sam's Town Point, down south.
There you go.
Wow, that's one place I've never heard of.
I used to hang out at Sam's Town Point back in the day.
Oh, okay.
I used to hang out everywhere.
Yeah, but it's a double wide trailer. It's a cool little bar.
Okay. All right,
used to be a little bit older of a crowd. Now it's getting a little bit cooler, more hip.
See, that's why Patrick knows about it. Because Patrick,
no doubt.
Oh, no, I was there
show.
drinking at 3 p.m. with the old people back in the day.
Oh yeah, see,
when I was a young man.
Drink with old people when you were a young man.
So I was working for a band, and so there was like when you were off, you didn't have anything to do, so you'd start drinking, but you couldn't drink with people your age because they had jobs.
It sounds like
so you'd have to go drink with people that were retired.
Sounds like a start to a country music song.
It's a definitely country
drinking
music
with a
song.
lot of old men as a young man.
It was back in those days when you'd hang out and you get to the bar and you'd be drinking in the back. You hear Judy died, and you're like, man,
I gotta get out of here.
you know what? They are serving me at 3, so I'll take it.
They start talking about Medicare and stuff. You're like, I gotta get out of here, man. I gotta go.
Well, speaking of Medicare, it's close to my birthday. Way to go, Rod.
That was not a shot. That was not a shot, man. I promise you on that. All right, my man Hard celebrating his birthday today, so give him a shout out on the Specs text line 512-337-3776. You can also give him a shout out via Twitter at HardballHarge, any Twitterverse. I'm at Rod Davis, any Twitterverse, and my man Patrick is at It's Patrick Davis in the Twitterverse. All right, let's get to breaking down these conference championship games, and I want to get your picks, Harge, as well for the conference championship games in the Final Four. Where do you want to start? AFC, NFC.
Let's go NFC because I know that you're close to the information on this game because that's your boy.
Yeah.
Shano's your boy. This is fam.
Yeah.
And so they got a chance to figure out a way to get back to the Super Bowl. And it's been a minute, right? So he's got to figure this out.
It's going to be a Herculean task ahead.
Off top.
Ahead of my man Kyle Shanahan, Shano as I like to call him, because it's honestly this Philadelphia Eagles team, in my opinion, right now, I think they're playing with Jalen Hurts as Jalen Hurts is healthy, and I think he's as healthy as he's been in a while. Man, they're playing better football than anybody that the 49ers have faced. 49ers have not faced a team this good, and I don't think Philadelphia's faced a team this good, so I guess it's the whole point of the playoffs. My big concern for the 49ers is Brock Purdy holding up against the best pass rush in the game.
Yeah.
70 regular season sacks. They got 5 more in their first divisional round game, first playoff game, so they got 75 sacks now on the season. And you start looking at this group, man, and they can get pressure via blitz. They can get pressure just rushing 4. They got 50 of their 70 regular season sacks with just rushing 4 guys, and so they can drop 7 guys back into coverage and win the numbers advantage there and still apply a ton of pressure. Here's good news though. I found this.
Come on, give me some nuggets.
Brock Purdy versus 4-man pressures. He's got a 126.6 passer rating versus 4-man pressure so far in his, he got 8 starts now under his belt. And the Eagles, like I said, told you, they're number 1 in generating 4-man pressure, so they use it a lot. But Brock Purdy actually holds up really well against 4-man pressures. If they try to just go with 4-man pressures and don't blitz him, they may have trouble trying to get to Brock Purdy because he is also mobile. But here's something I'm worried about with Brock Purdy, and it's something that's been floating around the 49ers fandom for a little while here, is trying to get Brock Purdy to drift to his left or bootleg to his left. That's a big problem for him. And most teams, they cannot, force and compel a quarterback to drift one way or the other. But Philadelphia can, because Philadelphia's got a really good defensive lineman, a really good defensive front, arguably the best in football. So if they want to kind of build a game plan around overloading one side, applying pressure to one side, and forcing Purdy to drift and bootleg to his left, he's completing 32% of his passes when he has a launch point from the left side of the field, and that's when he's drifting or rolling to his left. He's got a 63 passer rating and only 2 touchdowns when he's drifting and rolling to his left and throwing the ball to his left. Now, the Eagles defense, which has a ton of interceptions, I think they're second in the NFL behind the 49ers in interceptions. They got 6 picks when quarterbacks are rolling or drifting to their left. That is tied for the most in the NFL. They may decide that on predictable passing downs, they want to overload one side, overload that right side of the defense to Purdy's right side, and then force him to his left.
That's interesting to me because when you look at some of the quarterbacks in the league, some excel going to that opposite direction as opposed to going to their throwing side, because sometimes it's tough for certain people. But I would challenge that in the fact that maybe he's gotten better at it a little bit, because he brought this up the other day because everybody kept asking about his unorthodox style of throwing, and he attributed it to baseball. He did it as well, so there will be some plays where he's going up the middle and possibly having to make that throw across the field. So I would challenge that. Like you said, you're going to watch the game and you're going to see him go to the left side and see what he can do. But I think last week against the Cowboys, he did well because that throw – he ran to the left side, and then he hit Kittle coming across the middle. Now, if Diggs blows him up, it's an incomplete pass, and that just kind of throws everything out the window.
Very true.
But he was accurate on that throw. It wasn't a bad throw, and he did it twice in that game. So I would love to see that challenge and see if those numbers get changed a little bit this week because he did have some success last week.
Yeah, it could be, but the numbers, you got a sample size now of 8 games, and the 8 games tell you that Purdy drifting and rolling to his left, that he's not as effective and efficient. So if you're the Eagles, I mean, there are a little – outliers, and there are certain kind of analytical outliers that you can build game plans around against Brock Purdy and the 49ers. And on the flip side of that, if you're a 49er fan and you're worried about what the Eagles offense can do from the quarterback position, I mean, Jalen Hurts is arguably the best dual-threat quarterback in football. And the 49ers have played 2 dual-threat quarterbacks, lost to both of them.
Hey. That's how they get down.
They lost it. Yeah, I mean, the dual-threat quarterback can be a great equalizer, also oftentimes the ultimate cheat code. And the 2 that they faced were Justin Fields and Marcus Mariota, and they lost to both of them.
Yep. That's a big-time move, right?
Yeah, it's just, there is something about facing a dual-threat quarterback. And it's not that – how about this? I found this little nugget. It's not the design runs that hurt the 49ers. 49ers versus design quarterback runs or quarterback option runs, they're number 1 in yards per rush allowed, 2.6. Yeah. But they're 18th in yards per carry versus scrambles.
Ooh.
So it's the scramble. So it's when the play breaks down.
Yep.
It's when the play breaks down completely. That's when the 49ers defense has their most trouble, is when the coverage probably was really good and the front did their job, quarterback held onto the ball, but when the fit hits the shan, a guy like Jalen Hurts can make something out of nothing. That's what I worry about with this 49er defense. Can they contain him when he decides to break the pocket and improvise? Even when they played him in 2021 in week 2, he had 10 rushes for 82 yards and a rushing touchdown. They still weren't able to contain him then.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're really going to be able to contain him scrambling. So they better put a spy on him as much as they can. That's going to be the key. Can they put a spy on him? If they put a spy on him, Harge, they got a shot. But you put a spy on him, that means you're taking away from coverage of the best wide receiving duo in the league, arguably.
There you go.
With Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. So they're probably like, yeah, go put a spy on him. Please do. Please do, because that means one of those guys is in one-on-one coverage.
And that's the scary part about this game. Both of these teams are skillful enough that they can get away with certain things, but can you get away with scheming a defense where you're going to put a spy on the quarterback and leave those 2 monsters open one-on-one?
Yeah.
That is a true challenge. But, again, I mean, DeMeco Ryans, this is another job interview.
Yes, it is.
This is this opportunity for you. Show me that you can scheme up that way and are able to control the game with that. That's a huge, huge move for him. But I think the difference is I think their defense is so first class, so to speak, because they have so much talent at every single position. I know the one positions or the one layer of their defense that has a lot of troubles, and you look at it. I saw a stat the other day that they give up the most 25-plus yards play per game or something like that. They give a lot of chunk yardage plays.
Yeah.
They're near the bottom. That secondary is a huge problem. But for me, those linebackers in that first two levels, they can get to the quarterback. That's the challenge. Are they going to be able to get to Jalen Hurts? And Jalen Hurts being the elusive quarterback that he is, to your point about him scramble plays, how healthy is he? He looked good last week.
He looked good last week, man. He looked good last week. He didn't.
But does it take one hit on that shoulder to get him out of the game? You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure the 49ers are going to test it out.
Oh, you know that's right.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll test it out.
And then you throw in, a lot of it's going to come down to red zone defense of if you get in there, not allowing them to get touchdowns, taking the field goals, because it's important for San Francisco not to get behind by enough that they're now having to rely on the arm of Brock Purdy and no longer can play a consistent style of running the ball and short plays and quick passes and all of that. So you want to be able to see if, hey, man, can you stay disciplined if Jalen Hurts breaks contains but still looks downfield and you have two really good wide receivers trying to make something happen to get open? Can you stay on task? Can you stay on position and then not lose Jalen Hurts where he breaks off and gets a touchdown? All that's just hard to do against this Philly team, but it's going to be very important when it comes down on Sunday.
Yeah, basically the Philadelphia offense is built around putting you in constant conflict. And, you know, the old triple option offense, they've just taken it to an extreme, and now it's a quintuple offense. They got a quintuple option offense where, yeah, you got the zone read, but it could hand it off, or it could be a zone read keeper. But on top of that zone read action, they may have a jet sweep, A.J. Brown coming, or a Devontae Smith on the jet sweep. And then with that jet sweep, he goes straight to the flat. So there's a quick game option, quick game option in case the defensive end crashes down, or say the defensive end takes the quarterback. He's still got another option on top of either to hand it off or to keep it. And he also can throw it out there into the flat. And then on top of that, they'll build package plays with that RPO zone read concept where it's a backside play and then there's a front side play. Backside play takes longer to develop than the front side play. If the front side one isn't there, he can always go to the backside play. And if none of those are available, he can just decide to scramble.
No doubt.
It's
fascinating.
It's simplistically brilliant because it is triple option football, but they've just added the passing game as a part of it and now infused RPO concepts too. So if the 49ers, this would be my game plan versus Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts he's been phenomenal, right? He's in the MVP conversation, and he very well deserves it. But what I found out about Jalen Hurts is that he's great in the pocket and he's great scrambling.
Yep.
But he's not great outside of the pocket, just as a quarterback outside the pocket before he starts to scramble. So he's decisive. What you have to do is make him indecisive, right? So Jalen Hurts outside the pocket has a 37% completion percentage, 4.2 yards per attempt, a 52 quarterback rating when you flush him from the pocket. So you want to flush him from the pocket, but you don't want him scrambling. So you got to keep him in that purgatory. Yeah, so you do want to try to, collapse the pocket as quickly as you can. But then once he leaves the pocket and flushes the pocket, you want to keep him there, looking downfield to throw.
Yeah.
If he flushes the pocket and then looks to run, that's when he does the most damage. That's when he does the most damage to the 49ers, or at least he did. And the 49ers defense has been susceptible to scrambling quarterbacks, not quarterback design runs, scrambling quarterbacks when the play breaks down. So what they want to do is keep a spy on him, and then every time he flushes from the pocket, you can just kind of keep him there, keep him from scrambling, and keep him right there in that purgatory between being a pocket passer and being a scrambler, because that's when he's at his most ineffective and inefficient.
Do you make sure that your defensive ends keep pushing up the field and not try to get to the quarterback? Try to figure out his depths at the drop keep pushing up the field, right?
That's the concern, right? Because if they're pushing up the field, and your defensive tackles, they aren't stout enough, and then there are holes, all right, at the line of scrimmage there, and he's got green grass, he's going to scramble and take it.
Yeah.
Now, if you got a spy on him, then maybe that's what you want, right? Maybe you want your defensive ends to essentially seal the edge, and seal that edge, and say, all right, if he's going to scramble, he's got to scramble straight up into Fred Warner.
Yeah.
He's got to scramble straight up into Greenlaw. Because if we let
Some
him,
monsters right there waiting.
Exactly. We let him break the pocket and get outside of those tackles or get outside that defensive end.
Yeah.
Then Fred Warner's chasing, or maybe that's what you want.
Yep.
Maybe you'd rather your defensive ends crash down, all right, collapse the pocket, and then force him to go to the outside. Where Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, they're like, dude, I'll chase you down. I'm not some average NFL linebacker, dude. We can run.
Well, it goes
we can
back
run side line side. So it depends on what you and maybe you mix it up. Instead of what you as a coach want to prioritize.
And it also goes back to what you've been talking about. Now this is the time where, again, I'm going to bring it back to Dak, of course. This is that time where you say at this point in the season, you're playing against the best of the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
And your margin for error, it gets even smaller now. So for Jalen Hurts, who by all accounts has not been challenged all year. I mean, think about it. He lost 1 or 2 games himself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about him.
Yeah.
While he's been at the quarterback position, and now he's going up against the best defensive team in the NFL. There's no margin for error in this game. You're not going up against the New York Giants defense, which has been very suspect all year, as by their record. Mm-hmm. Now you're going up against a team that just won 12 straight games now. This is going for 13. And that defense is elite. You know, we use the words differently, but that defense, besides that back end, that front seven is elite when it comes to it. So this is a huge challenge for Jalen Hurts, and this will be that moment in the season where we've been talking about it before. Is like big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games. And this is his opportunity to show exactly who he is.
Yeah, I'm with you. Right now, I mean, you are picking. Are you ready to give your pick?
I'll give it here in just a little bit.
You give it here in just a little bit?
Yeah. Matter of fact, I'll give it to you now.
Okay, go ahead.
So for me, all the great talk, it's really hard for me to pick the Philadelphia Eagles. I know numbers tell me I should pick them. Looking at it at face value, I should pick them. But I'm going with the 49ers. I just think that defense is going to show up. We've been waiting for Brock Purdy to have a Brock Purdy moment. We've been waiting for him to have that rookie moment, and he still has not had that moment.
Hasn't happened.
And to me, that's the craziest part of it. We keep wishing that part about him.
Nobody's wishing.
Well, I'm saying no. Well, we keep talking.
You're a Cowboys fan, so you're wishing.
Yeah,
don't put words in our mouth. You're wishing.
I was hoping. I was living with hope last week. I was hoping he would have his moment. Yeah. So when you watch it, we keep talking about he's gonna have that rookie moment. He's gonna have his moment. Everybody's talking about it, and it's like, no, my man is still doing his thing, and I want to believe that Shano, with his offense, with Kittle, with those weapons that he has, with McCaffrey
Debo,
and Debo, Kittle, Ayuk, and even Elijah Mitchell. Even Elijah Mitchell has been a very valuable part of their success. We saw it last week. I just think that they have so many weapons. And this is the game you and I have been talking about for a long time. We've been saying these are the 2 best teams in the NFC.
No question.
Now they're playing each other. Mm-hmm. And I believe and I hope that San Francisco can pull it off, because there's no way. Matter of fact, I'm just going for the AFC. How about that? No.
Yeah.
But I'm rolling. In this game, because I have to make a pick, I'm going to roll with San Francisco.
All right, because you're leaving early. I want to get your picks for the other game, to the AFC game, the Cincinnati, and I think you've already probably said
I'm rolling with the Bengals.
You're rolling with the Bengals, even though they're missing.
Sorry, Kansas City.
Even though they're missing 3 starting offensive linemen.
We thought that last week, and they were playing in the snow.
Kansas City's defense is
Chris Jones is a monster.
Their pass rush is better.
Yeah, Chris Jones is a monster.
I mean,
he's up for MVP, defensive MVP.
Only Dallas had more pressures than Kansas City. Kansas City can get after the quarterback.
Yeah,
nobody talks about that, but they actually can get after the quarterback really well, and they led the NFL in quarterback hits. They can't. So, but I'm with you, Joe. It's hard to pick against Joe Burrow. It's hard to do that.
Somebody told me today, they were like, do you think he can win 4 in a row against Patrick Mahomes? And I was like, have you seen him? Like, this dude has no frontal lobe. He could care less. His job is to beat everybody. And I know everybody's making a big deal about Burrowhead and all this other stuff. Chris Jones even made the conversation.
He did.
He was like, yeah, I'll see y'all at Burrowhead, I guess, you know. And that scares me, that part, because they're pissed. They're looking at this as like, man, he cannot come back into our stadium and beat us. The fans are going to be rowdy. Yeah. The fans are going to be rowdy. They're going to be turned up. They're going to be on 12. And the dial only goes to 10.
They will be.
They're going to be on 12. But right now, I said it at the beginning of the year, and I'm going to say it again. I just think there's something about this Cincinnati Bengals team that is different than anybody else, and that is because they have zero fear of any team in the league. They don't care. They don't care about reputations. They don't care who's on the other sideline. They do not care. I'm still rolling with Cincinnati.
Yeah. No, it's hard to
sorry, KC fans. I know a lot of you listen to this show. I know y'all a lot of my friends, but Cowboys ain't it. I don't want y'all in it.
No, I feel you that I feel you on that though. I mean, it's amazing that Mahomes has not beaten Joe Burrow, and
that's crazy to think.
Yeah, and they've dominated the AFC, and yet he can't beat Joe Burrow. He is Patrick Mahomes' kryptonite right now, but they know that. Yep. I believe this line is going back and forth. I mean, Kansas City was favored, and then the line went to a pick'em, and then Cincinnati was favored. Now I believe it went back to a pick'em, and then Kansas City was favored. I don't know where it is now.
I'm checking right now as we speak.
It's gone back and forth like at least 3 times from Kansas City favored back to a pick'em.
Kansas City favored by 1.5 right now.
Okay, so it did. It went from Kansas City being favored by 1.5 to a pick'em to Cincinnati being favored by 1.5 to 2 points, and now back to a pick'em, and now back to Kansas City being.
And
favored.
You know why, right? Because everybody's been watching the film. Because the reason why it jumped so much before is because everybody thought Patrick Mahomes was hurt. Mm-hmm. Well, now we've seen him walking without a boot. He's been at practice every single day this week, and everybody's like, he's playing. That's why that number went back to Kansas City, because it's a home game again.
Yeah.
So they're trying to look at him and say the money is flipped. I know we look at these lines and money flips back and forth. This time it flipped strictly because of the fact that Patrick Mahomes is back and looks to be healthy.
Are you surprised that the over-under is so close between these two games, that it's like 46.5 for San Francisco and Eagles and 48?
Yeah.
Are you surprised that the two defensive teams and then the two super high-powered offenses?
Take the under.
I took the over just now.
Took the over
as we spoke.
I take the under, especially for the San Fran.
Well,
I'm
talking about for Cincinnati.
For
it's
Cincinnati,
48. In the last few times that they've played each other, the final score has been 27-24. 27-24. Like, that has been the exact score. 27-24. 27-24.
Yeah.
So I'm taking over.
Okay.
I just took it.
Yeah. Hey, you know what?
I ain't even look and see what the weather's going to be like. I didn't do any of that. I just looked at that number and said, I'm taking it.
Well, you got the 2 best quarterbacks arguably in the league. Yeah. So they're going to be able to move the football. They'll be making some plays. So it's going to be a hell of a showdown, because if Kansas City loses once again to Cincinnati, the narrative is about to shift unlike anything you've ever seen. When it comes to Patrick Mahomes, who was 2 years ago considered to be the baby GOAT.
Yep.
And it'll go straight to Joe Burrow conversation, and Joe Burrow and him surpassing potentially Patrick Mahomes already.
Yep.
So just be ready for it.
Oh, it's going to be that narrative's going to be crazy.
Oh, yeah, it's going to throw it out there. And honestly, you can't deny it. That it would be an incredible start to a career for Joe Burrow, but also an incredible start for Patrick Mahomes. But he just cooled off a little bit and just kind of shows you it's really tough to win in this league, man. Once the NFL watches film on you, and once they have a game plan for you and a blueprint for you, it's really tough to win this league year after year. All right, what you got coming up for the people on Hard Knock Life?
Well, there was a report that came out the other day on CBS about the early draft picks, the top 20 draft picks, and I want to get you guys' opinion for next year's draft. I want to get y'all's thoughts on that.
All right, we'll get into a little draft buzz on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. We know that time is money, and so do my friends over at Apple Leasing. That's why they want to save you both. It is a brand new year, time for a brand new you. And how about a brand new automobile, too? That's what Apple Leasing can help you out with. They can help you get the price you want, the payment you want on the car that you want. It sounds too good to be true. It's not. It's just the way they do business, folks. So reach out to my friends over at Apple Leasing. Give them a call, 512-346-9977. All it takes is one phone call or one click on Apple Leasing's website, and you'll get a quote on any make or model vehicle that you want. They can even give you an estimate on the value of your trade-in right over the phone. Apple Leasing's simple interest easy lease makes things simple because it gives you more flexibility, which allows you to have more possibilities and options to help you find the vehicle that fits you best, but more importantly, the vehicle that fits your budget best, because we all know inflation is out of control. It's never been more expensive to buy a new car, buy a used car, buy anything for that matter. So leasing makes more sense than ever. You're only paying for the part of the car you're actually using. So call Apple Leasing today, 512-346-9977, or visit appleleasing.com. That's appleleasing.com.
Welcome back to a 512 edition of Ball Don't Lie. It's a 512 Friday edition of Ball Don't Lie. It's your boy Hardball Hard. You can follow me on Twitter at Hardball Hard. You can follow my man Rod Babers at Rod Babers. And you can follow the man behind the glass at It's Patrick Davis. We also love it when you're a part of the show. You can hit us up on the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. And joining us now on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline is a man that has been on these airways with us from time to time. He actually reached out to my man Rod Babers, who was one of the best cover corners that my man Derek Johnson had ever seen, and he brought him down to the All-American game down there in San Antonio. He's the co-founder of the Texas High School Football Showcase. He's the director of football development of FBU camp, and he has a camp that is going on coming up here real quick next weekend, actually, that he's going to give you the information about. We talked about it in the Flex segment, is my man Anthony Williams. You can follow him at AWilliamsUSA on Twitter. What's up, Ant?
Hey, am I correct in that it's somebody's birthday today?
You are correct, sir. It is your boy's birthday.
Hold on. Happy birthday to you. Mike, happy birthday, fam.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much, man. So how are you doing? And let us know what you have coming up here on February the 5th.
I appreciate it, guys. Appreciate all the support. Before I jump into the event next Sunday at Del Valley, I want to once again thank Rod Babers for coming out and sharing his knowledge with some of the top cornerbacks and DBs and safeties and nickels across the country at the NBC National Combine a couple weeks ago.
Oh, thank you, man.
Getting into the drills with Aaron and Emerson Walls, two-time Super Bowl champion with the Cowboys, and Chet Brooks, two-time Super Bowl champion with the Niners. Rod, I hope you had fun that weekend.
Oh, man, I had so much fun. Checked a couple things off my bucket list. Got a chance to eat a meal with Everson Walls. Bragged to my dad about that. So, no, it was great. And like I said, anytime you want me to be a part of it, I'm in. You ain't even got to ask me, man. I'm already in. It was such a great atmosphere and such a great experience.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you. You've probably been following a lot of the kids that you coached in that combine have gone on, and their recruiting has just taken off as true class of 2025 and 24. So I appreciate your support on that.
Nice.
Mike, thanks for the platform. So I had a really good meeting with the Flex team just a couple of days ago. And so every year, Coach Anthony Wood, the head coach and athletic director at Westwood High School, we do a showcase for the unsigned seniors. These are for those kids that have not signed on early sign day back last month in December. They may not sign this coming Wednesday. And so, you know, Mike, as you and I have talked about, you know, a lot of kids, there's a lot of focus in the media on the Cedric Baxters and the Arch Mannings, and those kids are great. I love they've been to our events and stuff. But there's a lot of great kids out there who maybe missed that recruiting cycle playing varsity as a sophomore or junior, and maybe they had a senior in front of them. They're good student athletes. They have high character, and they're looking for a place to, A, continue their education, and B, keep playing football. And so every year for the last 10 years, Coach Wood and I, we host this unsigned senior showcase right here in our backyard at Del Valley's Athletic Indoor Complex. We'll have some Division II, Division III, NAIA, and some JUCO coaches there who still have scholarship money who are looking to fill out their roster now after the signing day, because as we all know, there is a pecking order when it comes to recruiting, and some of your D2s and D3s can't compete against Texas and A&M and Baylor. So they have to wait until after these kids finally find out, hey, you may not have gotten that D1 offer, but there's still a lot of opportunity out there to continue education and play. So we'll have college coaches out there. We'll put the kids through not just the unsigned seniors, but underclassmen that are looking to get some recruiting exposure. We'll have them out there. We'll put them through a combine, just like with Rod down in San Antonio with laser testing like the NFL combine. And then we'll clear the field. We'll do some individual drills so coaches can evaluate these players. And then we'll get into some competitive one-on-ones, both for O-line, D-line, and for the skill positions. And afterwards, the coaches, if you brought it and they like what they saw, they're going to bring you over. They're going to talk to you about an official visit or unofficial visit or offer you on the spot. It is one of the most gratifying events, Mike and Rob, that we have, me and Coach Wood, to actually have a kid come in with zero recruiting exposure or attention or offers and leave there with either a couple of official visit offers or actual offers to continue their education. So that's what's going on February the 5th. registration at 8 o'clock at Del Valley High School.
It's interesting. We're talking to Anthony Williams. And, Anthony, I wanted to talk to you about that as well, because this is something that I think a lot of parents don't truly understand. Obviously, everybody wants that D1 scholarship. Everybody wants to be on the radar of all the big major schools, but sometimes it's not for everyone. And there's still some top quality schools that are out there. You brought up the JUCO. A lot of people, JUCO, those are for the ones that didn't qualify. No, not necessarily. Those are for probably some of the guys that were underdeveloped early in their career, and then all of a sudden it takes off and you go to a JUCO and you just become that guy. Cam Newton went to a JUCO. Michael Bishop, who's now a college football Hall of Famer, went to a JUCO. But you also can go to a Division II level, 1AA. It's not always about being at that high-profile school. So you want your education paid for, and this is another platform for you to have that, correct?
Yeah, it's very correct, Mike, and I'll keep it real with you guys, and I always do. For the players and parents out there, if you're a class of 23 right now and you're still waiting for a D1 school to get in contact with you like 5 days before signing day, you're probably not going to get a D1 offer. Nothing wrong with that, but like I said before on the show many times, it can't be D1 or bust. Parents and players need to understand that there are more opportunities for scholarships and the ability to get your education paid for at the non-Division I levels than there are Division I levels. It's a numbers thing. So there are more FCS, D2, D3, NAIA, and JUCO schools that have scholarship money than there are with D1. I know D1 sounds good. And, yeah, I'm blessed. My oldest son, Aaron Williams, got to play at University of Texas and is a proud member of DBU. But my other son went to UTSA, and he had to go to a JUCO in California, De Anza. So there are many, many paths to success. And don't get your expectations clouded that if they don't go D1, that you're not going to play college football. One of the things that these players and families in the state of Texas need to understand is this. We live in one of the most heavily recruited states in the country. Every coach in Kansas, Iowa, Wisconsin, California, all over, they would love to come here and get the backup left tackle at Anderson or the backup running back at Westlake, because they know that kid has been through great offseason training. He's got great high school coaching. He's been around great facilities, and he can come to their program and make a difference and help them win games and win their conference no matter what division they're at. So I think parents and players, one thing I always talk about with Mike and Rod and others is set realistic expectations. If your son is a 5'9", 195-pound linebacker at Liberty Hill, that's great. He was all district and maybe even all county. But go look at the Texas, Baylor, A&M rosters and look and see how many 5'9" linebackers are on that roster. So there has to be a reality check, Mike, to recruiting, because if you don't have what I call realistic recruiting expectations, you're going to be sorely disappointed, and you might miss out on opportunities to continue to play and get your education paid for by non-D1 schools.
No doubt about it. So, Anthony, everybody's been asking the question, what time does this event kick off? And it will be at Del Valley High School, correct?
Yes, and we will be at the Del Valley. If you've never been over to Del Valley in a while, they've got, I think, the only brand new indoor facility. So the Del Valley Athletic Complex will be inside, because we don't know what the weather's going to be like. Once weather hits February here in Texas, could be 12 degrees, could be snowing, but we will be inside, so weather won't be an issue. We register at 8 a.m. If you can register online now at a discounted rate of $50 to help pay for the insurance for the facility. If you just want to walk up that day, you wake up Sunday morning like, you know what, I'm going to try and get me a scholarship somewhere. You want to come down? We offer walk-up registration at 8 o'clock. We'll start Dynamic Stretch at 9. We'll do the testing at about 9:30, 10 o'clock. After the testing, we'll do the football drills and one-on-ones, and you'll be out of there by 12:30. You'll hopefully get a chance to talk with some coaches. And also, because of COVID and because of the shrinking budget of some of these D2 and D3 and NAIA schools, we are doing a live stream again of the event. So even if coaches aren't there physically, you're going to have D1, because D1 coaches can't be there based on the NCAA calendar. But you'll have D1, D2, D3 coaches watching the live stream online, and players will have access to it so they can add that footage to their highlight video. But you'll have coaches watch online, and you may get contacted through your performance because they watched online. So we're trying to be realistic to the times that we're in right now. Everybody doesn't have the budget to fly in. The coaches from Iowa, from Wisconsin, and we've got coaches coming in from New York and New Hampshire. So we got to use technology to help these kids continue their education. And so that's what we're going to do.
Nice.
That's outstanding,
Love it.
Anthony.
Love it.
So tell everybody the website so they can make sure that they sign up.
TexasFootballShowcase.com. You can go in and register there. Want to shout out a couple of my partners, as I mentioned, Coach Wood. Buffalo Wild Wings going to help feed the coaches that come in. The coaches that come in. Real Goat Sports. My boy Devin Sam's going to be there interviewing players. We're hopefully going to have the flex team there, also interviewing some of the 5-1-2 players. So lots of coverage. We'll have some of the rivals and 24/7 guys there, coaches there. It would be a really good time as we once again celebrate these class of 23 seniors who aren't going to some of the big time schools. Give them one last chance to make their dreams a reality of having football pay for their college education.
That's outstanding, man.
Fantastic.
I love it. I love it. Anthony, keep up the great work. Once again, thank you for coming out last night and checking out DJ while he was playing. But most importantly, thank you for all that you do for these kids and giving them that opportunity, because every platform isn't for everybody, but you give them that platform to go out there and showcase their skills.
Well, man, all glory to God. Happy birthday to you, and I really enjoyed watching DJ play last night. I can't wait to see you and Rod here very, very shortly.
I appreciate you, man.
Thanks,
there he
Anthony.
is, Anthony Williams.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you, brother.
Man.
Yeah, he does a great job with these kids, man.
he
And him
really
and his
does.
whole crew. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You got a chance to actually be a part of it. I've known the Williams family since I was coaching. I've coached everybody in their family. I've coached every single kid from his daughter
That's crazy.
to Aaron to Daniel to God dog it.
Coach Harge.
That's what they all call me. That's what they all call
Coach
me, man.
Harge, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
No,
what they all call me. And he had all Division I athletes.
Hey, they got good genes.
They got great
They
genes.
got some great genes in
Mama
their
was a
family.
great track star.
Yeah.
Daddy played football. They all got after it.
They got great. They also got
Yeah.
great values too.
That's it. That's
They
the
got
family
great-
values, man.
They got
I
great
love them.
genes, but better values as a family. So a shout out to Coach. And by the way, if you want some more details, you actually can go to flxatx.com, and there is actually a detailed brochure, if you will, on the website there about the showcase coming up for Anthony. So you go check that out. It's really good stuff. But go to flxatx.com if you got any questions, something we did not cover, it'll be up there for you.
No doubt.
All right. Thanks to Anthony Williams for joining us. We always appreciate that. We come back. We got off the record. Patrick sent this one, so blame Patrick if it makes you cringe when we talk about this story. We'll do it on the other side for Off the Record right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. What's up, folks? Lifetime Local Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my good friends over at Ironworkers Local Union 482. We know Austin is a beautiful city, thanks in no small part to the good folks over at Ironworkers Local Union 482. They've been helping shape Greater Austin since 1935. You see the labors of their love all over this great city and iconic landmarks like DKR Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. As the city continues to grow and thrive, so does Ironworkers Local Union 482. The Ironworkers Local 482 don't go to the office, they build it. So if you're looking for an exciting new career, you can become a member of Ironworkers Local 482 and accept the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself while helping shape Austin's economic development. Ironworkers Local 482 are hiring 3,000 people. You heard me right, 3,000 people right now for a huge project. So become a member of Ironworkers Local 42 and take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of this great city. Maximize your potential and be your best self today by applying at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Time for another edition of Off the Record, and this is a sad and bizarre story. Clemson star basketball player Brevin Galloway apparently revealed that he experienced an injury this week that I hope none of you guys out there ever have to experience. He said on Thursday that his scrotum exploded, basically. The Tiger senior guard said the horrifying swelling of his testes occurred after he had finished a morning gym session followed by an afternoon siesta. Quote, "This morning I went to lift, I came back, I took a nap, I woke up from my nap, and my..." I'm not even going to say that. I'll just say that his junk, his stuff down there, the scrotum exploded. He said in an Instagram video. He said he underwent immediate surgery, and thankfully after about 3 hours under the knife, everything down under is now back to normal size. He said, "I don't know what happened to my balls. I guess they were just trying to be like basketballs, but we made it." Wow.
What?
Yeah. I mean, he's a good player too, but I want more detail, not about what happened, because that sounds painful and horrible, but I want more details about like what caused this.
I mean,
like, did they talk about?
He has zero idea of how it happened. He went to take a siesta.
That is a real confidence in yourself to walk out of that doctor's office without him telling you exactly what happened and how to never have it happen again.
Right. I need detail. I'm like, bro, I need details on what went down here. Did I lift too much? Was I lifting too much? Did I exert myself too much?
Now, I tell you this, if I'm him and I go to work out, I am never sleeping within 8 hours of working out.
Exactly.
Now I am staying up, monitoring the situation for the rest of my life after working out.
Yeah, basically, he said it's all he did. He said that all he did was work out. He said, "This morning I went to lift, I came back, I took a nap," and he woke up from the nap, and what a horrible way to wake up from a nap.
Yeah.
He woke up from a nap, and the sack had exploded.
There might have been something else that went.
Yeah, I mean,
on.
Do you think he woke up from the nap because of this, or he just woke up,
just casually woke up,
or he
from
just
the
woke
nap?
up and he was just like, he just went down for a casual scratch. And he was like, something seems off here.
Why are they so? You know they swole up on him.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it had to be huge. It'd be like a grapefruit down there.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then
look, somebody
you're
just
napping, so you've got to put on pants to go to the doctor.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Ooh. Who did he tell first? Did he tell anybody, or did he just go straight to
I
the
would have
medical?
called straight to I would have called the trainer first. I say, "Hey, you need to come over here and look at this." And explain.
your job.
Yeah, that is what you get paid for.
All right, Josh Primo.
Yeah,
Coming over, you got to look at this.
I didn't say the masseuse, Deshaun Watson. I didn't need them to come over. I needed somebody else to come and check it. There's somebody said I had something called elephant.
Oh yeah, elephantitis.
Yeah, and they said it caused by.
No, this says epididymitis.
Yeah, that's the
different.
same thing.
But
I think it's the same.
Some guy here says elephantitis, but that's very different.
No,
Very different. Elephantitis is when you're
swollen up.
Yeah, it's when your sack like swells up. I still don't know the reason.
Well,
why.
most of that time that happens when you get a vasectomy and you try to do too much after that too.
Really?
You have to make sure that you're icing, and when they tell you you're gonna feel like you're okay, you're not okay.
Really?
Oh yeah, I had it. Not that.
But you say if you don't ice properly, or you go out there,
yeah, exactly. If you don't do the things that you're supposed to do, and you think you're good, oh no, I'm good. I'm good.
That can happen to you.
My uncle told me, he was like, "Man, I had it, and I thought I was all right. I went out, started hanging out with people, and all of a sudden started tingling." There were some things that were happening. Next thing I know,
what?
I'm like, he's running around like Serrano.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? In Major League when he was running the bases.
I'm telling you, if I get that, I'm carrying a Yeti in my pants. Make sure I'm iced down.
That is crazy.
Exactly.
So it says hard in the taint, hard in the paint.
There it is. You got some problems going on, dog.
Oh, no. Okay, I have to bring up this story because anytime there's a story about some type of injury down under, it brings the player, the famous NFL player Virgil Livers to mind.
I remember this story.
Virgil Livers, 5'8", 176 pounds. God bless this man. By the way, he's in the Western Kentucky Hall of Fame. Damn good football player, by the way. It is probably known well, at least not worldwide, at least nationally known as the worst groin injury in the history of sports. So what happened to Virgil Livers is basically late in his second season with the Bears, Livers was blocking at the end of a punt return inside Soldier Field when a member of the Raiders jumped the pile to avoid a late hit and instead came down knee first on Livers' lap. That's right. Just before the guy landed, Livers distinctly remembers a split second, he says, where he swears they locked eyes, and the player shot him a kind of helpless, I'm so sorry for this, bro, look. It didn't help. His testicle exploded on contact. Livers wasn't wearing a cup, and incredibly, wore one for only a short time afterwards. How about that? How about you have an incident where your testicles explode as a result of a contact injury, and then you decide, I'm still not wearing a cup. That man is living on the wild
I trust
side.
myself.
I trust myself.
What are the odds of that happening twice? Come on.
Great. I guess so. By the way, I didn't wear one either, so I guess you got to, hey, if I can't protect that, I don't need to be playing. All right?
Listen,
I got to protect my family, too.
I played
okay?
baseball, and there were very few games that I did wear a cup. Because I trusted my hands so much.
I'm trusting your, yeah, exactly.
I trusted my hands
Come on,
so
now.
much.
By the way, I'm protecting that first.
Yes.
I might let something hit me in the face before I let something hit that. I'm good.
Facts.
But isn't most of the time you're gonna get contact with the ball, and then the ball's gonna get contact with the balls?
Exactly. So you got to make adjustments.
Okay, so this is what happened. So apparently, his sack exploded on contact. This guy kneed him, or just landed his knees on his junk. Basically Livers though went. How about this? He went back on the field. That's how tough football players used to be. His sack
He's a gamer.
Exploded. It exploded on contact. He went back on the field like, man, maybe it's just a bubble guts. I'm not sure what this is.
Yeah.
He went back on the field, and then for the next defensive series, but for the whole series until his scrotum swelled to the size of a large orange or grapefruit.
Yep.
And then it began obstructing his stride. So the only reason he left the game was because he couldn't run because his scrotum.
So what you're saying is when he watched
swollen.
he watched Patrick Mahomes go down, they're like, he's so tough getting back in the game. He's like, yeah, real tough.
Yeah, this guy,
real tough.
He mocks every injury that he watches in football. He's like, that ain't nothing. He said,
he got a sprained ankle?
So how about this? He said, I was the smallest guy in my position in the NFL, and I was determined to be the toughest, and for 6 years I was. He said that basically after that happened, so after the game, trainers suggested draining the orb there with a needle before mercifully deciding to take x-rays instead. On film, it looked like a shattered light bulb, the doctor said. And Livers was immediately sent to the hospital for surgery. He was told not to worry, that there was a reason most vital organs come in sets of twos. He only needed one. Some people will tell you only need one. As he remembers it, Livers, how about this? As Livers remembers it, he tells the story. He drove himself to the ER.
That's what we do.
Drove himself to the ER, ladies and gentlemen, with an exploded testicle. Deal with that. Drove himself to the ER, and then how about that? He needed surgery, and his wife Linda was 9 months pregnant at the time. The news sent her into labor. It was like, your husband's junk exploded. And she's like, what the hell? And
she knew that was the last kid they was going to have.
She went into labor after that. And how about this? His wife, Linda, was driven to the hospital by Connie Payton, wife of Walter Payton.
Yep.
Drove her to the hospital and stayed with her while she delivered the Livers' son, Alexander, who weighed more than 10 pounds.
Did they have adjoining rooms? That's what I need to know.
That's a great question.
That's what I need to know.
Father and son met 2 days later after Livers persuaded his surgeon to release him early. Oh, by the way, he played football again.
Oh, yeah.
He went on to play football for the Bears later still, and he played 2 more years for the Bears, and then went to play for the Blitz. That man loves the game.
Yeah.
Man, this is what I said earlier, man. Both those stories, put both those stories in the it could be worse file. Whenever you get down in life, just go to that file and look down your pants and go, in one piece.
I mean, how tough is this mofo, man?
Yeah, he's one of the toughest.
Like,
I feel no pain.
He went back on the field after his scrotum exploded and then drove himself to the ER. That should not be. How did he not pass out and faint out of shock?
You're not normal.
Wow.
I don't know. Apparently,
anymore.
these injuries make you just crazy because this other kid didn't ask his doctor what went wrong.
That's what I'm saying.
Like he's just like, man, well, can I work out tomorrow? I'm like, no, never again.
Thanks, Doc. Yeah, I know he's got a girlfriend or a significant other of some kind. They probably want the reason why.
She was out with her friends. She was out with her friends.
Well, he's going to need some help recuperating from this thing, and I'm sure he can't do all the stuff himself. He'll probably need somebody to apply some of the.
No.
All right. That's sorry for people who have to listen to that. I had to get that story out there. All right. This is why. Isn't it why Ginobili is so loved though? Didn't Ginobili lose?
Yeah,
Didn't he lose? He lost one, right?
Yeah.
But it was for a basketball injury.
Yes. And I can't remember the full story off the top of my head, but
He gave up one for Spurs fans.
Yeah.
Y'all better love that man.
He's Manu Ginobili, man.
Yeah. That's why he's a Hall of Famer.
That's why he's a Hall of Famer.
That's why he's a Hall of Famer.
Caught a bat, lost a nut, man. Manu's done it all.
All right. Hey, Harge, be safe on the road, man.
Appreciate it, man.
And
thank
have
y'all
a great
so
weekend,
much.
brother. And
thank
happy
you
birthday.
Thank y'all for the
brother.
birthday shouts. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much for welcoming me to the ARN family, and we're going to keep rocking this thing. I made it around one more year around the sun. I'm going to try to make it another one, baby.
You got plenty more. You got plenty more. We love you, brother, and be
Appreciate
safe on the
it.
road. All
Thank
right,
you.
we'll come back. We'll get into more conference championship previews right here on Ball Don't Lie. Wonderful. That Ball Don't Lie. Right on Wonderful.
Pun intended. Mike Harge here for All Stat Beer. Football season is winding down, and I know everybody's sad, but do you know the beautiful part about it is you can enjoy beer at any time. You know that All Stat was born in Fredericksburg, Texas, right in the heart of the Texas Hill Country. They have a beautiful state-of-the-art brewery. The brewery prides itself on award-winning German-style beers. The Great American Beer Festival just awarded the All Stat Lager a gold for the second time. They have a beautiful fine dining restaurant, and, of course, they have a tap room where you can go in there and try multiple flavors. Just do this. Plan a tour today and see it for yourself. Then you can enjoy some great beer with great food, and, of course, you can enjoy it with some great friends. On the weekends, the brewery also has live music, so plan a trip today. Go to allstatbeer.com to find a local watering hole where you can enjoy some, or where you can pick some up on your way home. Make Allstat your beer of choice. Allstat beer is made with 100% German ingredients. That means you get German hops, malts, and yeast. And, of course, you get that natural spring water. Allstat beer, no impurities, no regrets.
Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. 512 Friday edition of Ball Don't Lie, and my man Patrick plays jams and songs from local bands and artists, very talented human beings like this person here that you can hear live right here in the ATX. Who is this? Because I need this.
This is Joe James.
Man, this is
very talented. He is playing Saturday at Central Machine Works.
What's the name of this song right here?
This is Do You Want Me?
Do You Want Me? Joe James?
Joe James. You can listen. Yeah, he's got a bunch of good soul and just beautiful voice.
Wifey seems like she'll like that one. Joe James. Good. Thank you, Patrick. You hooked me up right there. Yeah, that's pretty good stuff. And that's why I love 512 Friday, because my man Patrick always broaden our horizons with some of these very talented people who actually perform here in the live music capital of the world. If you miss any of those suggestions for 512 Friday, please go to hornfm.com. I guess I could have went to hornfm.com and found out that this was Joe James. Do You Want Me? Great song here. All right. We got a lot of conference championship preview to get to. Oh, before I forget, shout out to my man Harge. It's his birthday today. He's actually off a little bit early, heading down to H-Town. He's got some stuff to do, but happy birthday to my man Harge, man. Always showing love, and he gets a lot of love for that, too. He does a great job for us, and we appreciate him. Okay. You can cyberstalk him as well, at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. Want to wish him happy birthday, you can do it there. My man Patrick, the real MVP, is at It's Patrick Davis, and I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. Okay, so let me just, let me just dismiss all the mystery, and just there's not going to be any build up to my pick of who's going to win the NFC or the AFC title game. I'm just going to tell you right now, and I'll tell you why exactly I'm choosing. I'm taking the 49ers to win the NFC title game, and there's one, and it was really close. Really close. Like I was the Eagles all week long, pretty much. I was on the bandwagon all week long. And the one reason is why, because I'm rooting for the 49ers, because I'm rooting for my boy Shano, of course. He's one of my best friends in the world. And I don't want to watch the game and be, rooting for someone, but then also thinking about my pick. So I'm going to pick the 49ers. But here's the reason why. And I don't know this for a fact, but I do know my boy Shano really well. So I don't know this for a fact, but I believe that it could be true, and maybe it'll come out later on. I think he's been preparing for the Eagles for a while. For a while. And here's why, Patrick, because he let this little nugget out earlier this week. He basically said that he's glad they got a road test in for Brock Purdy, a good road test in for Brock Purdy before this playoff run against the Eagles. And listen to the statement. Here it is. Quote, "We'll do the same thing we did that week." That was a huge week, just because that was our first game really all year that it was that important, and Brock hadn't had experience with it, and so it was great to have that, especially with us going to Philly. I remember I was talking about that week, and that week we needed that. We needed that rep in case we ended up in the NFC Championship game at Philly, and we got that, and very fortunate that we did, and I feel we're good to go. He knows what to expect. He knows how to do it. He knows how we do it. We'll give him reps at it all week, but he got it ready on just a Wednesday when he played Thursday, so I feel like it won't be an issue this week. So he's basically talking about having a road test in, and he was talking about the Seattle game that the 49ers got in when Brock Purdy became the starter, and then they went to Seattle. And he wanted him to have that road test in to simulate the noise in Philly and to just get the routine down. And that was, that Philadelphia trip for them, that was like week, I want to say that was, their first meeting was week 2 against Seattle. And that was like in the last month of the season, I believe, the last 6 weeks. I mean, Brock Purdy obviously has only had 8 starts. So in the last month of the season, he's already thinking about playing the Philadelphia Eagles. He admits in that statement, I was thinking about what if we have to play the Eagles on the road in the playoffs. I want Brock Purdy to have the experience of going on the road and playing against a playoff team in their home stadium. And we know that NFL coaches, when they have game plans already in from a divisional opponent, because they play them twice a year, when they have the game plan already in, they just tweak the game plan. They don't spend the entire week coming up with a brand new game plan when you already had one from week 6 or 7 when you played that divisional opponent, and you have to play them again in week 13 or 14. right? They just add on to the game plan they already have, the information they already have. And I believe since Shano and the 49ers, they played Seattle twice, and remember that last game was against Arizona, a downtrodden, broken Arizona team. But they had already played Arizona in week 10, I believe. So he had a game plan for Arizona too. And I'm not saying you spend no time on those weekly opponents, but I bet he split time. If I know Shano, he split time. And he mentioned the statement, he was already thinking about Philadelphia when he played Seattle the second time. Not the third, the second. And think about it, if he already played Seattle twice, there's even more evidence, I guess, or maybe there's more weight to my theory that he may have split time in both of those meetings, the second and third meetings, I should say, with Seattle, and spent a little extra time working on Philadelphia, because he's already talking about meeting Philadelphia in the playoffs on the road. And he had to play Arizona again. Arizona was a shell of themselves as a team, and I bet that week also he split time, spending extra time working on Philadelphia. Does that mean they're going to beat Philadelphia? No. But I do think he's put more than just this week's focus on Philly. He's probably put in maybe 10, 12 days of work total on Philly, maybe in the last month, I bet. I bet it's falling somewhere like that. So that's my grassy knoll conspiracy theory. I think Shano's been putting aside extra time, extra film study, extra sessions to prepare for Philly. Maybe they're doing the same thing with him, because they know, you know what, we're on a crash course with San Fran. We need to put aside some time, like Texas and TCU. Remember that? How well game planned the Texas defense was because of Gary Patterson for the TCU offense, and vice versa. And they battled it out through that game through three quarters. It's because they basically were game planning for one another all year long, because Gary Patterson was really motivated to beat his old team, TCU. And TCU knew that, oh man, Gary Patterson there, he probably has a better scouting report for us than any other team in the Big 12 or even in the country, because of the familiarity with the roster and the coaching staff. So he spent a little extra time. We know now that he spent more extra time preparing for one another. I bet that was the case, probably for both teams, but I'm going to trust Shano's extra time of preparation over the Eagles' extra time of preparation.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles, that one makes plenty of sense of, hey, man, we're playing the Giants, who we think we can beat pretty handily. So we're going to put effort into it, but we feel we're okay in this game. They're a divisional rival, too, so we've played them twice this year. So we know a lot of the game plan against the Giants. We need to do more, but we know that one. Mm-hmm. And then if we lose, and then if Dallas wins, we've played Dallas twice this year. So we're kind of set of it's divisional and divisional. We have a lot of stuff already on these two guys. So in our bye week, let's look at what the other guy might be. Mm-hmm. And we figure it's going to be San Francisco, so let's go put some work into San Francisco.
I think, so both sides, and like I said, you could side with Philly and go, well, Philly's got extra preparation as well. I'm going to side with my man Shano, because I think that he's a better X's and O's game planner and designer. But we're talking about a minuscule margin, inches here. It is a game of inches. So that's one reason that I feel good about Shano, because I know he's going to be really well prepared. And there are just not a lot of flaws with this Eagles team, and there'll be really small, little tiny, details that you're going to have to pick at potentially, and really pull at one or two potential flaws of this Eagles defense, and hopefully the whole damn thing unravels. So let's start with the 49ers defense going up against the Eagles offense, because I think if that matchup doesn't favor the 49ers at least half the time, it could end up being a commanding win for the Eagles, and only because of Jalen Hurts. Now, the last time Jalen Hurts played San Fran was in 2021, week 2. It was like his 6th start of his career. It was like the second game head coaching for Nick Sirianni. So really young blueprint, just the genesis, the origin of the story that we're watching right now. He had 10 rushes for 82 yards and 1 touchdown, rushing on the ground. Now, the 49ers are great versus designed quarterback runs and quarterback option runs. They're the best defense in the NFL, yards per rush allowed, versus quarterback designed runs or option runs, 2.6 yards per rush allowed. Where they struggle, Patrick, is quarterback scrambles when the play breaks down. That's my concern. when the play breaks down and the opposing quarterback has to improvise, that's when the 49ers are vulnerable. We know this because they've only faced 2 dual-threat quarterbacks all year long. They lost to both of them. Justin Fields, Marcus Mariota. They ain't lost a lot of games, and those aren't great teams. But they have 2 things in common. Quarterbacks that can improvise and that can run when the play breaks down.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be that is the X factor in football right now in the NFL is if you can get a guy who can sit in a pocket well enough and then run, that's now the X factor because it was Lamar Jackson and just running and a little bit of passing.
It was.
Now it's like, hey, no, we're going to be a passing offense, but also this guy can go run on you for 100 yards. And that's what we've seen with Josh Allen and with Daniel Jones and those guys. But San Francisco can handle this team. I think it's more I think there's just a big part of it going into can you not let them get ahead of you early? As long as you're able to stay in this game, which is red zone defense, which is, hey, man, if you can keep Jalen Hurts from getting into the end zone and breaking off and breaking that big run, if you can keep them from going over the top of you and getting big plays from 60 yards out, and you can get them to kick field goals, your style of offense works really well of, hey, man, Saquon Barkley only ran the ball 9 times because they were constantly behind, and they were behind so early, but he averaged 6.8 yards a carry. Like, he could still – you can still run against this Philly defense. I know they're getting better at it, and they've done better.
Yeah.
You can still run against them.
Oh, you can.
So you're going to have to be able to put Christian McCaffrey out there and run the ball. And if you get down because you're worried too much about Jalen Hurts scrambling and you let them go over the top of you,
then you're in trouble.
That's when the problem is because now it's 14-0. And now all of a sudden, all right, well, now all our little trick plays and everything we do for 8 yards, we can't do anymore. We have to start now trying to take shots ourselves, and now that makes us not what we do. That's not –
It's too much pressure on Purdy.
Yes. It's too much pressure on Purdy. And it puts – and then now you're looking more at Ayuk. You're looking more,
Yeah, you become a team that has to be one-dimensional, and that's not the 49ers.
Yeah.
You got to pass the ball. That's not the 49ers.
No, and you want to be able to go to your checkdowns of Deebo Samuel and George Kittle and have guys like that you're throwing to, and Christian McCaffrey, that you can constantly pick up 6 to 8 yards and just basically beat down the other team. Because, as you said before, San Francisco is a physical football team.
They wear you down.
So you have to be able to do that. And if you get down early because you're so over-worried about Jalen Hurts getting first downs with his feet, that you overcommit up front, and now they're able to go over the top of you, and they're able to get huge chunk plays and get in the end zone from 40-yard line and not make them play red zone, where you do shrink the defense a little bit and give your cornerbacks a little bit more help. That's what my worry would be for this San Francisco defense of, we know that Jalen Hurts is going to get his, so you want to limit it, but you also don't want to overcommit to it and get beat the backwind.
The Philly offense, to your point about not getting behind, they lead the NFL in points per drive, touchdown rate per drive, and scoring rate per drive in the first half of games. So if you can make it a fourth-quarter game with Philly, that's your first test. It's to survive the first half. The 49ers will be good at that because the 49ers are the best first-half defense in the league. So they should be able to turn this into a 4-quarter game and then find a way to win the game in the fourth quarter in clutch time. It's what the 49ers have been doing all year long. Something else to keep in mind, I brought this up earlier about Jalen Hurts, just getting back to him being such a dangerous weapon with his legs as a scrambler. He's great once he commits. He's decisive, by the way. Once he commits to scrambling, he's phenomenal because he's an extraordinary runner. But he's also been really good from the pocket this year. Where he's not great is that purgatory in between. If you look at Jalen Hurts outside the pocket, he's completing 37% of his passes outside the pocket, 4.2 yards per attempt outside the pocket, and a 52 passer rating when he's outside the pocket. So what you want ultimately is to collapse the pocket. You want to collapse the pocket and flush him out of the pocket, but you don't want him scrambling. So you got to keep a spy on him, all right, as long as you can. And you got 2 of the best in the NFL. You got Fred Warner and you'll have Dre Greenlaw. I can't imagine a team with more athletic spies at the linebacker position. So you can spy him with 1 or 2 of those guys, but you got to figure out, are you going to try to force him inside? Are you going to force him to step up in the pocket and have your defensive end set an edge and force him up in the pocket towards your spy? Or do you want to collapse the pocket, even have your defensive ends crashing down, and then force him to flush the pocket to the perimeter, and you got linebackers who are fast enough to run sideline to sideline that can close that gap and that can still flush him but not allow him to scramble? And I think that sweet spot for the 49ers, they can do it, but that is going to be key, because the more he scrambles, the worse it is for the 49ers, because that means that when the play breaks down, ultimately the 49ers have decided not to put a spy on him. And if they do put a spy on him, he's ineffective. That spy should keep him from wanting to scramble downfield, should keep him with his eyes downfield, flush from the pocket, maybe drifting from the pocket, but he shouldn't want to scramble. But when you put a spy on him, the key is, as my man Patrick brought up, you're going to allocate resources. You got to pick your poison. If you're going to put a spy on him, then you're going to take one defender away from the pass defense and away from coverage. And that means Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown or Dallas Goedert is going to be open.
Yeah.
Oh, not open, one-on-one coverage, which basically means they open.
Yeah. Which, I mean, in today's, it's, hey, man, even if
one-on-one is open,
and you're throwing on your back foot and the ball's short and a defender runs into him, spot of the foul.
Yeah, exactly.
So you didn't have to do anything. All you did was put in one-on-one coverage, and if he puts the ball close enough, you can go and get that pass interference. And I'll put another thing down for what San Francisco will, if we can help him out, really possessing time of possession in that first half. Really extending drives, especially in that second quarter, where we know Philadelphia loves to just go on runs. And if you just take 12 minutes of the second quarter on a drive, and even if you get a field goal out of it, you stop Philadelphia from having that run that they've been having all season long, and make it a second half game where they have been a little bit slower in the second half.
Yep.
So I think it's just when you have that running game and that short yardage game that San Francisco does, I know it's nice to go take that shot over the top, and you may want to do it later in the game, but in that second quarter, in the first quarter, just grind the game to a halt as much as you possibly can. I mean, you got to stay on the field, so you can't play too conservative.
Yeah.
Because that's how you get in trouble, because you run the ball 3 times and then you punt. But just, hey, man, let's get Deebo Samuel a 7-yard pass. And so not anything where we're trying to go, but just a nice slant. Just a slant, just something that's probably going to be open. High percentage. And we can go for this kind of play instead of trying to get something that may even break. We're not even worried about breaking it. Yep. We just want to pick up first downs, keep the clock rolling, and get us to where we're in a second half in a football game, and we know we can win the second half.
Playing keep away is not a bad strategy.
No.
It's not a bad strategy at all, because then you keep your defense fresh, and that's going to be key for the pass rush for the 49ers. I'll give you a little stat. Well, I don't know if it's stats, more like just little factoids and nuggets. The Eagles have the best O-line in the league, like based off grades, based off even they've only allowed I think they've only allowed like 11 sacks as a team. Like this is a legit group, and they only have one. And it's crazy. He's not the weak link, but he's the weakest link on their offensive line. But it's crazy to say that because he's only a weak link because he hasn't been playing football for only for 5 years. Their left tackle, Jordan Mailata, man, like I said, I hate to use the term weak link because he's not really a weak link. This is a guy that was on a demolition crew and a rugby player 5 years ago. You know, and now he's playing football. He had never played football prior to trying out for the NFL. He was from Australia, and he's the guy that's going to be going up against Nick Bosa. They signed up to an extension. I think this past offseason for 4 years, $64 million. He came to America because basically rugby didn't think a guy who was 6'8", 365 could handle the pace of rugby playing for, what is it? Is it rugby 80 minutes, however long a rugby game is? Yeah. They basically was like, dude, you're too big. You can't handle the pace of it. But he was so athletic that he was running out there with the rugby players at 6'8", 365. And some dude was like, okay, you know what? Your size is a liability in rugby. But you know where your size is an asset? The NFL.
Yeah.
They love big dudes like you. And you know what? You barely got to move. You'll basically move within 5 to 8 yards all game long and just like 60 reps of that. He's like, I could do that. So he tried out for the NFL and basically through their international players pathway program, he was drafted in the 7th round by Philadelphia. They traded up for him. in the 7th round. Nobody ever trades up in the 7th round for someone.
No.
Philadelphia did. They're like, no, we like this guy. This
We
guy's
know.
legit. We know he can be legit. And he had injuries his first 2 seasons, so his season ended with injuries his first 2 years. So this is actually the first year where he was healthy the entire year. And last year, I think he was healthy most of the season. Then he started basically competing for starting reps last year, and this year he's completely just locked down that left tackle spot. It's his. And he's got 29 blown blocks, 39 pressures allowed, and 6 sacks allowed, which is the worst on that O-line because the rest of the O-line has allowed 5 sacks total. He's allowed 6 on his own. But he's also going usually up against the best pass rushers, all right, in the league, and he's going to do that again going up against Nick Bosa, and he's watching Jalen Hurts blindside. That is the player the 49ers are going after. They're going after this dude. And that guy's going to be an all-pro in like 3 years, but he ain't right now.
No.
And right now he's just a phenom, a prodigy.
I love that, like Nick Bosa, the thing I love is that he trains, like everything he does is so regimented. Everything he does is all about football. And they talk about how he lines up with his arm back like a runner now. And the whole thing was he talked to a guy who went, I don't know, if you look at your numbers, you're technically 0.4 seconds or 0.1 second faster if you start like this. So if it's all, we're talking fraction of seconds to try and get to the quarterback. So he lines up that way now to get that 0.1, 0.2% increase on the quarterback. And they put together a stat of his adjusted sack rate for his first years in the league before he started doing that. And they were like, he should have like 6 more sacks.
Yeah.
Because he was that close so many times. Yep. And with this little difference.
That little that little fraction of a second. Yeah.
And they were like, if you take that fraction of a second, he gets this many more sacks.
Crazy.
So it's just a guy who's built. And if you look at him, D linemen are not supposed to be built like how he's built.
Yeah, he's built like a superhero.
He's a beast. So, yeah, if I was 5 years in the league, it's not the guy I'd want to see lined up against me.
Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, that's this guy, 5 years in the league, he's only been playing football for like 6 years. But he's a phenom, though. Yeah. He's great. But like I said, I know D'Amico Ryans and Shano and Nick Bosa are licking their chops. Because if they can exploit that guy, you can blow up the whole damn game plan for Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Whole damn game plan could just blow up in their face. All right, we'll come back. We'll talk more about that. Every year we get close to the Final Four, we're in the Final Four of the NFL, getting close to the Super Bowl, I like to find a concept that is popular among one of the teams that also is a concept that Texas used very effectively during their football season. Just going to show you in football theory that it's all connected, all right? All these concepts, all these schemes, they're somehow connected, just through 6 degrees of separation, if you will. Well, I'll talk about the 49ers' secret weapon. Also, should have been the Longhorns' secret weapon. We'll talk about that when we come back right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, people? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my friends over at MyBookie. We all know that it's a brand new year. Time for a brand new you, and you're probably tired of the same old betting experience. But right now, it's a perfect time for you to upgrade to MyBookie, the premier destination for online sports betting. MyBookie takes pride offering the most competitive odds and the widest range of sports and events to bet on. MyBookie's website makes it easy to place bets and track your progress from anywhere at any time. Plus, with their exclusive promotions and bonuses, you'll always have the opportunity to earn extra cash. MyBookie gives you the most bang for your buck with their redesigned deposit bonus. So bet on the NFL, NCAA, or play for a share of big cash prizes in the weekly blackjack tournaments. Just use the promo code HORN, HORN, on a deposit of $50 or more to receive a cash bonus instantly to your MyBookie account. Again, that's the promo code HORN, HORN, to claim a brand new deposit bonus designed for bettors looking to cash in and cash out quick. Don't settle for less. Choose MyBookie for the ultimate sports betting experience. Bet anything, bet anytime, and bet anywhere. As long as you're betting with my friends at MyBookie, you're betting with the best. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. I want to get into a little football theory here. I always try, to take popular concepts that have led to teams separating themselves from the rest of the league with their creativity, with their different utilization that they deploy these concepts with, and how they deploy these concepts. And last year, I remember talking about empty formation. You guys probably remember me talking about empty formation. You're probably tired of me talking about it. But me talking about it all last year, it ended up, ironically, becoming one of the featured themes of the Super Bowl, because in the Super Bowl, the Bengals ended up facing off against the Rams, and the Rams and the Bengals led the NFL last year in empty formation. They were number 1 and number 2. It was arguably their 2 favorite concepts as a team last football season, and it led to them, having a distinct conceptual advantage against the rest of the league. Got to have great quarterbacks like Joe Burrow and Matt Stafford to pull it off, but they use empty formation. And remember, the reason I was obsessed with empty formation here at Texas is because I had been tracking it with Tom Herman for, 3 years before that Super Bowl, saying it was conceptually, it was to me, the formation that put more pressure on a defense than any other formation in football today. No football formation or personnel package or even concept, in my opinion, put more pressure on a defense than empty formation. That was always my take. And the numbers, the numbers obviously bear that out, because you go look at Texas. I remember the last 2 years prior to Sark coming in, which was 2021. So take 19 and 20. Texas averaged 9 yards per play in empty formation, 10 yards per attempt in empty formation, and a 23% explosive play rate out of empty formation. It was arguably the most effective concept for Tom Herman, and he didn't use it enough. But I digress. I'm not getting on Tom Herman. Let's get to Sark, because when Sark came, one of the other concepts that I kept pounding the table for was more two-back sets. You guys probably remember it. Probably got tired of me talking about, hey, more two-back sets, more two tailback sets. Talked about it a ton when Tom Herman was here, and Tom Herman didn't use it enough. He used it sparingly a couple of times to break tendency, but I'll give Sark credit. Sark used it a lot more in 2021 when he came on. He used more two tailback sets, and it only made sense. Your most talented position and your best position overall, and your deepest position at the time, was running back. Your best leader in Rojo and your best player in Bijan were at running back. Why not play those guys on the field at the same time? And he started to a little bit. Last year, you had 2 tailback sets, 20 and 21 personnel, 2 backs, 1 tight end, 2 backs, 0 tight ends, around 6% of the time in 2021. And in 2022, I was putting a lot of pressure on Sark. Every time I talked to Sark or Bijan or Rojo, I'd ask him, hey, are we going to see more 2 tailback sets? Are we going to see Rojo and Bijan in the backfield at the same time? Bijan did give me a hint that, you know what, it is going to happen. And, last year, the reason that they should have been playing more 2 tailback sets, because last year, it was so successful for them. It was such a successful, effective personnel package. Their highest yards per attempt in the passing game, their highest completion percentage in the passing game, all came out of 2 tailback sets. So fast forward to 2022, and what was Texas' most effective personnel package? Well, Black Stradamus tried to tell you. It was 2 tailback sets, specifically 21 personnel, 2 backs, 1 tight end. Texas averaged nearly 6 yards per rush, 5.7. That's not great. That's okay. They could have been better. So it was really what they did, throwing the football out of 21 personnel. Remember what I told you? Sark's his motto was going to be for 2022: present power personnel packages and pivot to pass principles. So out of 21 personnel, Texas offense this year completed over 75% of their passes, 11.5 yards per attempt, 8.2 yards per play out of 21 personnel, with over a 23% explosive play rate. That is a pass of at least 15 yards and a run of at least 10 yards. It was easily, like far and away, your most effective personnel package. And I would even throw out there, even though Sark used it a little over 11% of the time. So he used it more than he did in 2021. He didn't use it enough. You should, considering how effective it was, man, that should have been 25% of your offense. I know it sounds crazy, but there's an argument to be made that if Sark ran more 21 personnel last year, should win a couple of more games. The reason that is significant and relevant to the Final Four is because the 49ers, their bread and butter, their lineup of death, if you will, is their 21 personnel package. Remember, against the first round of the playoffs against the Seattle Seahawks, they ran 17 plays, I believe it was, out of 21 personnel and averaged over 15 yards per play. Their 21 personnel is lethal. Christian McCaffrey, along with Kyle Juszczyk in the backfield. You got the most versatile tailback and the most versatile and the best fullback in the game. In the backfield, Deebo Samuel, most versatile wide receiver in the game. And then you got Kittle, one of the better tight ends in the game. And then you got Ayuk is the other wide receiver. That is their 21 personnel skill guys. And because they are so versatile and so much multiplicity in their skill set, it is lethal. Because you move around all those different chess pieces around the board in your positionless football philosophy. But I digress. Getting back to 21 personnel. So since 2017, since Shano went to the 49ers, they got 70 touchdowns in 21 personnel. The second most by any other team since 2017 in 21 personnel is the New England Patriots with 32 touchdowns. So they've more than doubled up the team with the second most touchdowns out of 21 personnel since 2017. And I started looking deep into it to see, all right, how has Brock Purdy performed when he's in 21 personnel? With 21 personnel, Brock Purdy, his completion percentage goes up a little bit. He's at almost 71% completion percentage. He's 8 touchdowns, only 1 interception, and he's got a 111.1 passer rating when he's in 21 personnel. That is higher than his 107 passer rating, and his 70% completion percentage is higher than his 67% completion percentage for the season. All his stats go up when he's going up against 21 personnel. And strangely enough, Philadelphia has not faced a lot of 21 personnel this year. They've only faced 25 pass attempts from 21 personnel. They may see that in the game versus 49ers in the conference title game alone. They may get 25 pass attempts out of 21 personnel, depending on how much they go with this personnel package. But the 49ers on the season, 21 personnel pass attempts, 68% completion percentage, and no matter who the quarterback is, 103.7 passer rating. So my point is that it's all connected. All of these really great offensive minds, and Sark is a really good offensive mind, they should be watching all of the top offenses in football at the highest levels, and that includes high school, by the way, and they should be stealing plays and stealing concepts, period. All right? STP, steal that play. All right? Steal it. It looks pretty good. You know what? I bet my guys can run it. I'm stealing that play. So as you watch football, all these coaches are just stealing plays. R&D, baby. Rip off and duplicate. And every coach now needs to have an R&D department. If he can't watch all the games, he's got other stuff going on, you just have 3 or 4 guys, and their only jobs is to watch the best offenses at the college level, the pro level, and the high school level, and just steal plays and concepts. And that's why when you see a popular concept in a play, it ain't just a copycat league, it's a copycat game. Everybody's taking that and running with it, and they going to run it. And it doesn't matter where you saw it first, but everybody's going to steal and borrow those concepts. And that's why I can talk about, Texas is really good at empty personnel for 2 years. And then at the NFL level, you see it in the Super Bowl where the 2 teams who are competing in the Super Bowl, they run that concept, empty formation, more than any teams in the NFL. Because to me, it's all connected. The reason it's all connected is because they're all watching each other. If you know who to watch. They're watching Shanahan. Everybody's watching Shanahan. They think he's an offensive genius. Sark's already admitted, I love that Shanahan coaching tree. I watch those guys all the time, as much as I can. He followed Shanahan in Atlanta, so of course he's been a big fan and even schematically has used those concepts to transition his own offense. So that's why it's interesting. Like I said, every year I bet I can do this year in and year out, and we should be able to do it. If I can't do it, that means the offensive mind, offensive coordinator, play designer, play caller at Texas ain't doing his damn job. I should be able to do this every year and go, you know what? The Texas is running some of the same concepts that those guys at the NFL level at the highest levels are running. Damn right. They should be. And honestly, Sark, should have ran more of it. That's my only complaint. You probably should have ran more of it because Shannon's going to run a ton of it this weekend. Nobody runs more 21 than he does. And the question is, I guess for Sark this year is, will he, now without a Bijan and without a Rojo, will he still use some of those two tailback concepts that have actually been arguably his most successful and effective offensive concept since he's been here? All right, we come back. We'll get into Off the Record on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. 512 Friday edition of Ball Don't Lie. We play jams from local bands and artists that you can hear live right here in the ATX. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Erica Michelle. She is playing Saturday at the Pershing.
Oh, man. Yeah, the voice, very distinct. Very unique. I like that. All right, 512 Friday. You miss any of those suggestions, go to hornfm.com. My man Patrick's got them posted there for you. I remember we just talked about Dak Prescott earlier this week because it was reported that he and his longtime girlfriend broke up. Girlfriend of like almost 2 years, that he and his lady called it quits. And it was reported that happened as early as March of 2022. We just didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Which means most of the offseason and the season, Dak was a single man. He was single Dak and independent Dak. And I always said certain players, certain athletes, depending on what lifestyle you crave and thrive in, some guys are better athletes, like better pro athletes on the field when they're in relationships. And some guys are better pro athletes when they are just living the single life and having a good time. And hell, some people like Tiger. You need a relationship and also need to be living the single life. Be the philandering relationship, whatever it is, right? Everybody's different. And I'm sure ladies are the same way too. I think players ultimately, for the most part, are better in relationships than they are not in relationships. So relationship Romo was better than independent Romo, in my opinion. And I think relationship Dak was probably better than independent Dak. But I don't know. So I gotta go check the records on that. Well, Dak apparently is no longer going to be independent Dak. He already met a woman, and they're already dating. Casually, it says, New York Post, Cowboys quarterback casually dating LSU swimmer Jaden Jonash. I'm sure I messed that up. Jonash. I'm sure I messed it up. I screwed it up. I didn't mean to. Page 6 reported this Thursday. This is a day after they all reported the breakup with ex-girlfriend Natalie Buffet. In March, while it's unclear exactly when the two got together, they were active over the holidays, it says. Man, Dak didn't waste any time. Good for him. Jeff, basically her father is how they met. Apparently he runs a mortgage company in Texas that partnered with the Cowboys, and then apparently they end up meeting through that connection there. So there you go. Dak's already off the free agent market. Done.
Yeah. That's what I mean. You got to get he's got to get ready for next season. And apparently relationship Dak turns the ball over less.
I think he does. Yes. There you go. Independent Dak. He takes a lot of chances.
Maybe he was evaluating the season and they were like, dude, you got to get in a relationship. Lock it down.
Because independent Dak, he seems to be, I don't know, a little bit more responsible.
Is that why he's checking out all the plays?
Irresponsible, I should say, with the football.
Is that why he's checking out a place? Because he's independent Dak?
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess I don't know where he is now. I don't know his status. Like, how serious is his relationship? Are we serious enough to now he's going to say he's in a relationship officially, or are they just casually dating or something like that? And maybe Dak wants to date, maybe wants to date for a while. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's in the off season now, so he's in the part where you can get a little bit more serious now. You're at a tough stretch there down the stretch of the season. You play playoffs. You don't have a lot of free time, especially if they don't both live in the same area. It's hard to be making it all work. But now you get that long break where now you can be like, oh, now we get to spend some time and see if we really like each other or if we just like the concept of each other.
Yeah, you know what? That's true because some ladies, they want to be with you during football season because they want those perks.
Yeah.
Get to go to the games, kick it, go to the parties and hang out. Yeah. During the off season, ain't no perks. I'm working hard, man. I'm grinding. All right, I'm working out. I'm going to lift. I'm going to throw. Yeah, we can go to dinner, but you don't get the limelight as much in the off season. So maybe that's when you find out that she's a keeper in the off season.
Well, that's the one. If you see him at a bunch of Mavs games all of a sudden in a suite, and you see him out in public in a suite and doing all those, then you're like, all right, well, she's trying to use him to get all that life.
That's a lot of Dak jokes on the Spec Sex line that just aren't cool. Not fair at all to my man Dak. But I'm happy for Dak that he's got another woman. I think Dak needs to be in a relationship. I think he's a better player. Do we know his rookie year if he was in a relationship or not?
I do not.
You got to go check that out.
I am the wrong guy to ask.
That is true. You are the wrong guy. I got to do some research. I'm going to find out if he was dating someone seriously his rookie year because that was like one of his best years too. And that may dispel my theory about.
He had a college sweetheart he was with still?
Could be. There you go. That's what I'm saying. It's just any type of stability. Because like I said, most men that I know in the league when I played, they were either working out, practicing, playing ball, or chasing tail when they were single. And then when you're not single, A lot of them still chase tail anyway, even in a relationship, unfortunately. But not as much. You focus. You're like, you know what? I got that taken care of. I got an in-house love interest. Now,
well,
I'm
especially if you got like a contract like Dak has, then all of those littler things of like, it's not like there's dishes in the sink when you get home.
Oh,
if you're Dak.
No, you don't worry about that.
No, when you're making $40 million a year.
Yeah, and you got a chef. You got a private
that's
chef.
what I'm saying. You don't have to worry about if you're on a rookie contract, 7th round pick. You're like, I gotta save my money. Like I ain't got all these privileges. Dak's on that second contract. He's got some nicer. It's not like she's gonna be like, did you pick up the milk? He's like, beep beep. Done.
You saying Brock Purdy still come home and is cooking? Like he's cooking himself?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm gonna cook something.
Yeah,
tonight.
Brock Purdy's still
Save
cooking.
me some bread. Yeah, Dak's got a chef. He's definitely got people that clean the house. So this woman, even if if she wanted that to be her role, a more traditional role where she's just taking care of the home, she wouldn't have much to take care of. I mean, he's taken care of. You know what I mean? So interesting. My man Dak back in the dating pool. Hopefully that means he's going to throw less interceptions. And finally, we can see Dak get past the divisional round. That's what the Cowboys fans are hoping anyway. There is no news on Kellen Moore since we're talking Cowboys. I have not seen anything about Kellen Moore. Patrick, anything?
Nope, I have been refreshing all day.
Okay.
Seen nothing.
What is that? To me, that's good news for Kellen Moore, or are they waiting on news dump weekend?
It's Jerry Jones. So the question is, does Jerry do it right before the game start?
Because he wants the Cowboys to become a topic of conversation.
Yes.
Okay.
Does he do it like Sunday morning, Saturday night to make it the story when all the pregame shows and everyone are talking?
I can see him. He loves to steal people's thunder.
Yeah, and if he does it today, then it's all run through tomorrow. But there's no big shows tomorrow because both the games are on Sunday.
Yeah.
So he might wait till Saturday night, Sunday morning to do it.
But the Dallas media wouldn't allow that to happen. They would leak it out beforehand.
Oh, they're going to try
Clarence
to.
Hill, and there's just too many good.
Yeah, I guarantee there's somebody out there.
And everybody's looking for this story.
Oh, no, they're all outside the Cowboys training facility.
Yes.
Watching for Kellen's car.
Exactly. This is the hottest story in Dallas right now. I don't know if they can keep it under wraps till then. It's gonna be hard. It's like, I always said that we know that Tim Tebow was telling the truth about being a virgin because TMZ never found that girl.
Yeah.
Right? Because TMZ would have found that woman. They would have found that girl. Like, yeah, we were 17, and he didn't know what he was doing. Neither did I. They never found her.
Nope.
Tim Tebow was telling the truth. He was a virgin until he got married and did the deed. So, hey, they looking for that story. And TMZ probably looking for that Kellen Moore story too. Everybody wants that story right now.
No, everybody wants it. Well, Cowboys fans especially, most Cowboys fans especially.
Yeah, you can troll Cowboys fans right now. You can do that. All right, we come back. We got one more hour left. Conference championship preview. We'll jump to the AFC side of things, and we'll also preview Texas men's basketball taking on Tennessee this weekend. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. 512 Friday edition of Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. That's when we play jams from local bands and artists, very talented human beings who you can catch right here in the ATX. And my man Patrick lets you know exactly how you can do it. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Aaron Stevens. He is playing Saturday at Antone's.
Oh, man. I like this. Nice groove here.
Yeah, Aaron Stevens is awesome.
Yeah, he sounds like he's legit, real deal. But honestly, I probably have said that or thought that with 3 of the 4 songs you played today. So you're always doing a great job. If you miss any of those suggestions and selections for 512 Friday, go to hornfm.com. You can catch up with them right there. All right. Let's get to more conference championship preview here. Let's wrap up our discussion about the Philadelphia Eagles and the 49ers. We've talked about it probably more than we've talked about the AFC matchup, so I want to get deep into that AFC matchup a little bit. Also, something I'm worried with about the 49ers, because I'm picking the 49ers, but I was worried about this when they played the Cowboys, and the Cowboys didn't exploit it. Remember I said I watched that? You watched that Raiders game because you're a Raiders fan, Patrick, and I talked about those 8 20-plus yard pass plays the 49ers allowed to Jarrett Stidham and the Raiders. 6 of those came on passes 20 yards or more through the air. 4 of those were via play-action pass. 4 of those were also using pre-snap motions and shifts on those plays where that goes those deep balls. And I think 6 of those 8 were also on first down. Cowboys didn't really follow my advice about throwing deep on the 49ers and testing that defense deep. I think the Eagles will. I think they'll use play-action pass when they do it. The Eagles' downfield passing game, 15-plus yards in the air. They have a 53% completion percentage, second best in the NFL. 14 touchdowns is third best in the NFL. And the San Francisco defense on 15-plus yard throws, defending them, they're allowing the 5th worst completion percentage. And they've allowed the 4th worst or 28th in touchdowns allowed on 15-plus yard throws. They actually are vulnerable to the deep ball. My man Harge was talking about that, too, on his research. The Cowboys weren't able to exploit it, but if you watch that Kansas City game where they beat the 49ers, or you go watch the Raiders game where the Raiders pushed the game to overtime and almost beat the 49ers with Jarrett Stidham as their starting quarterback, they were able to throw the ball deep, chunk yardage plays on them. Philadelphia has that ability because of those 2 wideouts on the outside, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith.
Yeah, and this is what I've talked about, being worried about them being able to go over the top and score quickly.
Yeah.
You really don't want to allow that to happen, but it is something that San Francisco has allowed in the past, which is why I think you have to kind of make the decision to make Jalen Hurts beat you first with his feet. And then if he does, then you're going to have to go up. But Jalen Hurts is probably not going to break off a 60-yard run.
So you're saying instead of devoting bodies to stop the run game, you would make sure you didn't give up any deep explosive passes first.
I would make sure you didn't go over the top
make
first.
Make them beat you with 10, 12, 15-yard play.
I would say let's see if we can get our linebackers in the right spot to not put a QB spy on him. Yeah. And just let's try and see if we can keep him contained enough.
To 10 to 15-play drive. He beats us with a 15-play drive to get all the way down the field. We'll play red zone defense.
Exactly. Yeah. If we can go, hey, man, let's make them play just really slow, and then we get into red zone, and this comes into who can score touchdowns and who kicks field goals, I feel better about that than, hey, man, they're just going to take a shot, and they can run. They'll scramble. He'll scramble for, 7 yards, and then it's a 2nd and 3, which means they can take a deep shot pretty easy on that play.
Yep.
And we also know that if they get within a yard, they'll go for it on 4th every time because they have the best quarterback sneak in the game.
Arguably in the history of football.
So if they're within 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1 or 2nd and 1, those are deep shots because they can afford to do that. Because they know they have 4-down territory.
That's a good point.
And so when you have that, you have to go, hey, man, just make them do the quarterback sneak then. Let them get 5 yards, 6. I know it's going to eat us up and chew us, but we want to get later in this game where our physicality is going to beat them down a little bit more. And that's where I think San Francisco needs to go. And if you're Philadelphia, run the ball as much as you can early in that game to make them respect you, and then you can go over the top.
To your point about going over the top, 49ers versus play-action pass, allowing 71% completion percentage, 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, but a 101.4 passer rating. And like I said, a lot of – and Hurts play-action pass, he's been phenomenal this year. 11 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 107.6 passer rating. To Patrick's point, you pound that rock early on, those linebackers start creeping up. Safety starts creeping up because they have to, because they're getting eviscerated on the ground, and that's when they hit you with the play-action passes over the top, and they got – two of the best receivers in the game to help to exploit that and to help them be able to be effective with those deep shots. So it is. I mean, they are an offense that, like I said, they don't really have a lot of flaws, and they have a way to answer all of your questions, or they have a way to solve all the problems, I should say. I went and looked at that Giants game one more time. So I was like, man, the Giants, Wink Martindale is known for being able to apply pressure, and they didn't really get any pressure on Jalen Hurts. And you want to know why they didn't get any pressure on Jalen Hurts? Because Jalen Hurts limited their pass rush to a 12% pressure rate. All with quick game. Getting the ball out of his hands quick game. So before the pass rush even had a chance, and remember, their best pass rushers are in the interior. Dexter Lawrence, right? Those are the, and they couldn't get there at all to disrupt him. How about this? His quickest time to throw of his career was in that game versus the Giants, 2.4 seconds. That was his average time to throw. So my concern with the 49ers, because I think the 49ers can cause some pressure and create pressure. Of course they can. But it may be a moot point if he's getting the ball out that quickly. Yeah. And then the 49ers get frustrated without getting pressure, so they either bring the DBs up to play more press man or to press the receivers, and they leave themselves vulnerable to, obviously being taken advantage of over the top. But also, if you bring the safeties and everybody up, that's when you're talking about the play action game and getting over the top. And then I worry about them occupying the eyes of those linebackers too. So no matter what the 49ers throw at the Philadelphia Eagles, they've proven time and time again they do have the necessary the resources to be able to evolve and to be able to overcome those obstacles. And that's what I'm worried about with Jalen Hurts. He can beat you running the ball. He can beat you from the pocket as a passer, or he can beat you manipulating the defense with concepts like the RPO game and the play-action pass game and just be able to occupy eyes of linebackers using sleight of hand. There really isn't a way to attack him. Like I said, the best way to do it, strangely enough, is to get Jalen Hurts out of the pocket. And before he starts to scramble, because he's decisive, you make him pause, and you basically force him to become a quarterback that's looking to throw the ball downfield. But before he starts to scramble outside the pocket, that's when Jalen Hurts actually is at his most ineffective. 37% completion percentage outside the pocket, 4.2 yards per attempt, and a 52 passer rating. If they can find that sweet spot, have a spy on him, collapse the pocket, but the spy keep him from scrambling, but he's flush from the pocket but not scrambling, that's going to be the key. Because that's almost a wasted play for them. Well,
and we saw with after the Bengals found out the trick to Patrick Mahomes was to just make him to take away everything long and just make him play smart football. Everyone started to do that. Patrick Mahomes adjusted and just played smart football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and just threw little passes and they just marched down the field and they would score. And so the defense stopped working when people that weren't Lou Anarumo were doing it. But I think if you're San Francisco, you want to do that to Jalen Hurts and try to get him to make a mistake. Try and get him to at the game. It's not going to be that cold. It's going to be 37, which is cold, but not for football players.
Not for the, yeah.
So it's not something where it's going to be crazy. But you are going to say, man, if we can make a 10-yard drive and we get them, and then we just don't give him anything. In that whole first half, we just don't give him anything, and we take long drives ourselves. And he just see if we can make this young guy who wants to go out there and win a game make a mistake trying to win a game.
To look like a young quarterback.
And that's so they're going to try and do it to Brock Purdy, but I don't think Brock Purdy's in that position where he will ever feel like I have to go win this game.
Yeah.
Because they go, man, that's Christian McCaffrey's job, that's Debo's job, that's Kittle's job. That's not your job. But for Philadelphia, it is Jalen Hurts' job.
That's a good point. I like the way you said that, too, because, without him, we saw what that offense is. Yes. Without him, he is the straw that stirs the drink. There's no question. They asked Purdy to be a game manager. Go manage the game for us, buddy. Yeah. That's all you got.
And you want to turn Jalen Hurts into a game manager because if you can do that, they can still come down. They can beat you, and they can do everything else. But your odds of him getting impatient and forcing a ball into double coverage or not reading a safety correctly or trying to run the ball and get that extra 2 yards and it comes out.
Just trying to do too much.
All of those little things, and that's what teams do to Josh Allen. We'll take away all these other things and make you try and beat us, and we know you're going to turn it over when you do.
And it's a little easier because Buffalo takes away the running game themselves. So they decide not to run the damn ball.
They didn't bring that.
They don't bring the running game.
I didn't pack it again?
It's just, you take away Stephon Diggs? Well, I got nothing. Two things real quick before we move on here. Brock Purdy, with the Eagles facing Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy throws the ball, and the 49ers do this too. It's not just Brock Purdy. They love in-breaking routes. Into basically the middle third of the field. 177 of the 214 passing yards for Brock Purdy versus Dallas were on in-breaking routes. Think about that. So if you're facing the 49ers, you do want to pack the middle. You want to pack the middle because that's where and by the way, those are easier throws for Purdy, right? You don't want Purdy throwing outside the numbers down the field. You want Purdy throwing those nice in-breaking routes to a Kittle or that deep six route to Deebo Samuel wide open. That's what you want, and that's what the 49ers want to do. So expect the Eagles to pack the middle of the field, force some of those throws to the outside. One other thing to watch with Purdy, too, I saw this little nugget here. Apparently forcing Purdy to his left is a thing. When he is drifting or booting to his left this season, 32% completion percentage. All right, when his launch point is from the left, when he's rolling to the left. All right, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 63 passer rating. The 2 touchdowns are actually on short throws. They were on basically check downs, and then the receiver did the rest. The Eagles defense leads the NFL in interceptions thrown by quarterbacks rolling or booting to their left. So that's a big key. Apparently, too, when he's running and booting and rolling and drifting to his left, he's just not as comfortable, not as effective. It's all about the little things, Also, 4-man pressures, the Eagles love them. They led the NFL in sacks this year with 75, actually. They're now totally. 50 of those 75 have come on 4-man pressures. Brock Purdy, excellent against 4-man pressures. 126.6 passer rating, 22 points higher than the next closest quarterback, which is Josh Allen. He's amazing against 4-man pressures. If Philadelphia gets a little frustrated not being able to get to Brock Purdy, they may decide to blitz. If they do, that is advantage 49ers because that means one of those great skill guys is left one-on-one. Without a lot of help, you just got to find out who that guy is, but you got to do it quick before the blitz gets home. All right, let's talk about the AFC matchup between Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, 3-0 versus Patrick Mahomes. And honestly, I don't see it like that. I am looking at this matchup as not Joe Burrow versus Patrick Mahomes. I'm looking at it as Patrick Mahomes versus Lou Anarumo, the defensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals. He has just been excellent and doesn't get enough props. And he's at his best late in the year. It's almost like he saves his best concepts defensively for the playoffs. There is no defense out there that is more creative and more duplicitous, that shows you one look pre-snap and gives you something totally different in the post-snap. I mean, every time I see Lou Anarumo's defense pre and post snap, I feel like the Ghetto Boys should be playing. My mind's playing tricks on me. Because that's what happens to Patrick Mahomes. We saw it. He looked discombobulated and stupefied. And one of the main reasons that Lou Anarumo is so uniquely gifted with his disguises pre-snap and post-snap, making it just tougher for quarterbacks to decipher it, is because of that disguise and the way that he moves those chess pieces around. And he almost defies the laws that quarterbacks have learned about what binds the structural integrity of a defense. He defies all that. And he makes it so tough for quarterbacks to process what's happening that they hold on to the ball longer while they're trying to decipher the defense and the coverage. And we know this by looking at time to throw. Most quarterbacks want to get the ball out quick. Remember, I just said Jalen Hurts against the Giants got the ball out in 2.4 seconds. How the hell are you going to get to him? Unless you got Nick Bosa's lined up across the board, right? Takes a little while. Lou Anarumo, when he faces an elite quarterback, the quarterbacks that I listed, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, right? Those are quarterbacks. I looked at their time to throw, average 3 years, average time to throw in their 3-year span, and I looked at their average time to throw versus Lou Anarumo's defense when they faced him. Aaron Rodgers, 3-year average, 2.57. That's his 2.57 seconds is his average time to throw. Against Lou Anarumo, 2.97. Patrick Mahomes, average time to throw, 2.71 seconds versus Lou Anarumo, over 3 seconds average time to throw. Lamar Jackson, 2.8 seconds on average against Lou Anarumo, over 3 seconds. 3.07 seconds average time to throw. Josh Allen, 2.7 seconds is his average time to throw, but against Lou Anarumo's defense, 2.99. Justin Herbert, 2.67 seconds is average time to throw in a 3-year span. Against Lou Anarumo, 2.85. And we know that, this is consistent because then we can go back and look at Patrick Mahomes' performances that he's had in some recent games. And Patrick Mahomes has been great, so I'm not saying that this is the kryptonite for Patrick Mahomes and this is how you stop him. No, this is just an analytical nugget, right? That you kind of start building your game plan around because you know that Patrick, if you can make him hold on to the ball, well, then you know the pass rush gets home. That's the key. Because the pass rush can't get there if he's getting rid of the ball. Quick game, quick game, quick game, quick game, quick game. You want to nullify the quick game. So in Patrick Mahomes, you go look at it. In 2021, the regular season, his average time to throw, 2.84 seconds. In 2022, it was 2.89 seconds. They were both ranked 12th in the NFL. 2021, Week 17 versus the Bengals, Mahomes' average time to throw, 3.11 seconds. His highest game average in 2021. And the AFC title game in 2021 versus Lou Anarumo's defense, Mahomes' average time to throw was 3.03 seconds. And in 2022, Week 13 versus Lou Anarumo's defense, Patrick Mahomes' average time to throw, 3.21 seconds. So basically his average time to throw was above 3 seconds in each of his last 5 losses going back to last year's initial meeting with Cincinnati. You want to beat Patrick Mahomes, you got to force him to hold on to the ball while he's processing and trying to decipher what the hell you're doing on defense. Mahomes only lost 2 games in 2020 all year. The Bucs in the playoffs and the Raiders. The Raiders used a 4-man rush to make him really, just indecisive. And he held the ball for, on average, 3.71 seconds. And then in the Super Bowl, probably his worst performance ever, going against that Tampa Bay Bucs defense, he held onto the ball, average 3.51 seconds. Time to throw. Got to make him hold on to the ball. That's the one common denominator of all of his bad performances. He holds onto the ball way too long. He's not comfortable. Kelsey's not open. Tyreek Hill's not open. That's the key. And if Lou Anarumo's making him hold onto the ball, he's patting that thing, Bengals going to win.
Hey, and if you want to know something about Lou Anarumo, about why his defensive backs play well, Lou Anarumo, before he became the defensive coordinator for Cincinnati Bengals, had been a defensive backs coach for 28 years.
Damn. With who?
With a bunch of different teams, but he started in 1990 as a defensive backs coach and has been a defensive backs coach consistently since 1990.
That's amazing. That is actually amazing. And you're right. He came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The name,
because he started out at Wagner as a running backs coach, but he was partial because he went to Wagner. Huh. So they brought him in there, and he was when he went to school, he was also coaching at a high school.
Wow.
Then he went on to Syracuse as a graduate assistant and an assistant defensive backs coach, U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, defensive coordinator, defensive backs, Harvard, assistant head coach, defensive back special teams, Marshall, defensive backs coach, Purdue for a while as defensive back coach, Miami Dolphins DB coach for 5 years, and then the Giants DB coach in 2018. 2019, he becomes the defensive coordinator for the Bengals.
What a hire by Zach Taylor.
28 years as a DB coach.
Which explains why he's so good at being able to form these pre-snap disguises with DBs.
He has seen a lot of different offenses in 28 years at different levels.
That is
coaching
crazy.
DBs. You go and you look at it, because I kind of went down trying to figure out why he's not getting any interest as a head coach.
It's crazy.
So I went through to try and find stuff today, and that was one of the things. You're like, I think it's just that he's been around forever, and no one really knows him.
Was this his first defensive coordinator gig?
So he was an interim DC for Miami in 2015. So whenever they fired their DC, he took over for the rest of the season and then went back to being the DB coach after that.
Damn.
So they kept him as a DB coach but did not give him the defensive coordinator position. And then he did it when he was with smaller schools. He was the defensive coordinator for the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. So not really a high-profile
But he's been phenomenal, and I'm with you. I don't know why he's not getting more head coaching looks and interviews. 'Cause I don't think I've ever heard him interviewing once. But you're right, he's been around the league forever, so everybody knows him.
Yeah, he's been in the NFL since 2015, is what we said.
Yeah, so
2012. Sorry, 2012. He went from Purdue to Miami, so he's been there for 10 years now.
He's been there long enough.
So people should know who he is. It's just that's one of those weird things. So I was trying to look at it today. I was trying to listen to interviews to see if he was, he didn't talk well or anything like that. And he's got a little bit of a New York accent, but that's not anything it wasn't crazy. He was
It's so weird, man. I'm with you. I don't understand it, but I can tell you, if he makes Patrick Mahomes look subpar again, man, he may have the blueprint on how to defend Patrick Mahomes. I mean, it may be the next blueprint on how to defend Mahomes because nobody's been able to do it. And by the way, he's got a bunch of these. In the last 2 years in the playoffs, he held Buffalo and Josh Allen to 10 points. Now, Baltimore didn't have Lamar Jackson, so they had 10 points, but not Lamar Jackson. Held the Rams to 23, Kansas City to 24, Tennessee to 16, Vegas only 19. That Cincinnati defense has been legit, no question. Not getting enough love. And so I'm torn really on picking Cincinnati with 3 offensive linemen going to be out, starting offensive linemen out. I remember we took that for granted when the Bucks and the Chiefs faced off in the Super Bowl, and Patrick Mahomes was missing multiple starting offensive linemen, and we thought, maybe Patrick Mahomes can work that magic. You know, he moves around the pocket, keeps plays alive. That was not the case. They were dominated by that Bucks defensive front, and I wonder, are we going to see something like that again? Nobody really knows, but that Kansas City defense, they're second in the NFL in pressures behind Dallas. They led the NFL in quarterback hits. That's no easy win over that defensive front, and you'll be missing 3 starting O-linemen. Oh, man, that's the only thing keeping me from picking the Burrow and the Bengals wholeheartedly and enthusiastically.
I'll tell you why I can't, because the mayor came out. And the mayor came out and asked for a paternity test from Joe Burrow to see if he was Patrick Mahomes' father. Wish I was making that up, Rod. It's a real thing that happens.
Are you serious?
Real thing.
Oh, they are cocky.
Yeah,
the Bengals are cocky right now.
They are real cocky walking in.
They are real. The Burrowhead thing.
Burrowhead Stadium.
Yeah,
it is.
So you think they're too cocky?
I mean, with 3 linemen,
3 linemen out. And you've beaten Mahomes 3 times in a row. You think you're going to beat him 4 times in a row?
I mean, look, I want to pick the Bengals, but guys, you got to make yourself not the villain in this story.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Because they are supposed to have the blue-collar underdog mentality.
Yeah.
You're going up against a team that's been to, 5 straight championship games? So, yeah, you should be the underdog, the blue-collar, kind of feel. And they don't feel like that. They feel like they feel like Apollo, and somehow Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City feel like Rocky. I don't get it.
It seems like Joe Burrow got real tired of playing the underdog.
He did.
And he is just like, all right, screw all y'all. I ain't the underdog no more.
You're right.
Call me an underdog to my face.
Officially, I think they are. They
are 1.5 points right now, I believe.
So, but by the way, the line started with Kansas City as a 1.5 point favorite. Then it shifted to a pick'em. Then it went to Cincinnati as a 1.5 to 2 point favorite. Then it shifted back to a pick'em, and now it is Kansas City back to a 1.5 point favorite. So the Vegas wise guys can't make up their mind, and neither can I. I'm going to take the Bengals just because it's hard to pick against Joe Burrow. But damn, missing 3 starting offensive linemen. If he does that, we might have to start talking about Joe Burrow in a different category. Yeah. If he beats Mahomes 4 straight times and then does it on the road, all right, with 3 starting O-linemen out, what?
And also, I kind of don't want him to win because I know what those pass rushes are in the NFC.
Oh,
and I don't want that for that man. You can throw the ball quick, but you're gonna be throwing the ball real quick on either one of them.
I never thought about that, but you're right. How about this? No matter who wins, are you picking the NFC against whoever wins?
I don't know. Kansas City wins. It's a little different.
Yeah, because his Patrick Mahomes' ankle can heal.
Yes.
So right now, that high ankle sprain is.
And we got to see how he
limpy.
looks. We'll see how he looks in this game. There's a lot of things we can see with Kansas City this week. With Joe Burrow, with 3 linemen out against either one of those pass rushes.
I know. Yeah, I might. By the end of the show, I might change my pick back to Kansas City because I wanted the snow help them somehow in pass blocking. And remember, they ran the ball so damn much, though. They ran the ball a ton. They ran it down their throat. I want to say they ran for 170-something yards, something crazy like that.
I can believe it. Yeah.
All right. I might waffle. I know I don't like waffling, but I might waffle by the end of the show, man. I really might. If I get an update on Patty's ankle, I might do that. All right, we come back. We'll talk about Texas taking on Tennessee this weekend. Going to be a big-time top 10 matchup. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie 104.9 Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. I'm going to get the weekend started right. As soon as I get home, I'm going to have me a sip of some Hot Cat Tequila. That's right. And actually, during the games, I'm probably going to be sipping on some Hot Cat Tequila as well. Hopefully, I'm celebrating wins for my teams and my picks with Hot Cat Tequila this weekend. You can do the same thing. The cat stands for cinnamon, agave, and tequila, and the recipe is just as simple and just as delicious. It's just cinnamon, agave, nectar, and tequila. That's why it's so light and so smooth. Hot Cat Tequila is a tequila lover's dream. And if you're not a fan of tequila, Hot Cat Tequila will turn you into a fan of tequila. It's my favorite new tequila. Turns any event into a party. Every party feels like a celebration. So celebrate and turn up with Hot Cat Tequila. And once you try Hot Cat, you can't go back to that old cinnamon whiskey or that cheap tequila you ordered rounds of when you were just trying to get the party started. Turn up your party. Turn up any festivity with Hot Cat Tequila. No football watch party is complete without Hot Cat Tequila. The perfect way to pregame for the big game or concert or festival or a night on the town with family and friends. Hot Cat Tequila is best served cold for a quick round of shots or to sip on the rocks. So visit cattequila.com to find a store near you that sells Hot Cat Tequila or to find a bar near you that serves Hot Cat Tequila. Toast to a new year and turn up this new year with Hot Cat Tequila. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a 512 Friday edition of Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. That means we play jams from local bands and artists, very talented human beings who you can catch right here live in the ATX. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Holy Wave, and they are playing Saturday at Feels So Good.
Ooh, I like that. Feels so good. That's the jam right there. All right, if you missed any of those selections or suggestions by my man Patrick, go to hornfm.com and you can catch up with them there. He's always giving you some really some great activities and some great talent that you can go see over the weekend. All right, let's get to this Texas-Tennessee preview. I cannot wait for this matchup. It is going to be a blockbuster matchup. Got great storylines, of course. Rick Barnes used to coach here at Texas. You got UT versus U, lowercase t. You got the ugly orange and the burnt orange. A lot of great storylines. But the biggest storyline, Patrick, is that Tennessee defense, which right now is considered by most college basketball insiders to be the best defense in the country. 9th straight week that Tennessee owns the best adjusted defensive efficiency in the country per Ken Pom. They've allowing 82.7 points per 100 possessions, the best field goal percentage defense in the country, and the best three-point percentage defense in the country. No team has scored more than 70 points on Tennessee in over a month. And the last team to score more than 70 was at Arizona. They scored 75. That also happens to be the last loss for Tennessee. Right now, they're playing like a juggernaut. They really are.
Yeah, they're playing amazing. And, I mean, it's one of those teams that doesn't have, I won't say a huge amount of size. Like, they're not one of those teams that you just say is we get why they can play such good defense because they got a crazy rim protector and thing. But they do have length. And they're able to get in there. They got great guard play with hands where they can get steals. So this is a big game to play smart. Don't try too hard to save the game. For Marcus Carr, he's got to be smart with the basketball and not get turnovers. And I mean, you're just going to have to try and chip away at the stone the entire game because if it starts to get away from you and you get one of those scoring droughts, it's going to be a hard thing to climb uphill against this really, really good Tennessee defense.
Yeah, I think you're right. The start, it can be, you ain't got to have a fast start, but it can be slow. You can't get out the block slow against this team. I'd hate for you to have to, battle from a deficit, dig yourself out of a hole against this team on the road, that kind of environment. It may be tough sledding right there, trying to dig yourself out of a hole with this team.
No, and I'll throw this in too. I think Oklahoma State was probably the best team rebounding game I've seen from Texas in a while, where the guards were getting in better positioning. There was better blockouts.
Yeah.
And so we didn't see so many, second and third chances, and where Texas was able to get a couple second and third chances in the game. Tennessee's a better rebounding team than Texas is.
That range you talked about.
And so you're going to have to be able to get in the right spots, get your body on people, play sound fundamental basketball in that way. And, it depends. If they're able to start killing you on transition, then, yeah, you're going to have to kind of take your poison of, do you try and go for the rebound or you try and get back on D?
Yeah.
But what the hope is you can leave at least one guard back to actually try and go for the rebound and not sit and look at the ball, which is the problems they've had throughout the season rebounding.
This is going to be a street fight, ain't it? This is going to Rick Barnes. His teams usually reflect his attitude, and his attitude is we're physical and we're tough.
Let's go punch somebody.
Yeah, exactly, right? And Texas, I think, because Coach Terry's done a great job, but they were built by, kind of Chris Beard in his image, and he was a tough guy.
He's a tough, and
they built this team to be, and Coach Terry is about toughness.
Terry's coach under both of them.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, we know Coach Terry is coach under both of these guys. He is not going to step down and back away from the fight either.
He knows, yeah.
And so this is where we want to see. It's going to be a big game for Dylan Disu. If he is able to play physical, keep his ground. Dylan Disu has been playing really well of not overdoing it, where he'll get in trouble at points where he's got really good footwork, but defenders know, and they just kind of push on you. Mm-hmm. And so you can't do it for too long, or else you're going to fall forward or travel, and he gets in those predicaments a few times when he's trying to do too much and trying to get the perfect shot. When you just need to pass the ball back out and reset, he'll just try and go, I know I can take him if I get another second. And by that time, he's falling forward, and it's a turnover.
Yep.
So
now, lost possessions you talk about. The wasted possessions you talk about.
You cannot have wasted possessions against a good defensive team because you have a good offense at Texas, but not a great offense.
Yeah, you're right.
So you cannot waste any of these shots because we know you're going to shoot roughly 40% if you're shooting okay. against this team. If you're doing well, you're going to shoot 40. You may shoot 35. So if you're giving the ball away, I mean, it's just a big uphill to climb. Now, you can say on the other end, they need to go play rough defense as well, and that's where, again, Dylan Dessou, Dylan Mitchell need to be rim protectors, stay in the game, don't get in foul trouble going for cheap fouls. You can't get fouls reaching in on 30 feet away from the basket. Dylan Dessou's probably good for one of those a game. He's been doing so much better, but he got one in the Oklahoma State game. But you just don't get fouls away from the basket. 20 feet away from the basket is not a place for you to get a foul, Dylan.
Yeah.
Get underneath the basket, get those blocks. And if you got to every once in a while, you send the message by going up strong, making the block. Man, Dylan Dessou had a block in the last game. No foul, jump ball, where he went up strong and took it down with the man.
Yep.
Didn't give up on the play. And those kind of plays is what you want to see from Dylan Dessou, especially in a game like this that is going to be a brawl.
Yeah. No, he's been playing really well the last 3 games, almost averaging 12 points per game. They're going to need those guys, those junkyard dogs, to assert their presence in this game. The guy that I want to watch, because I think he'll be guarding Marcus Carr for a lot, or at least that will be his assignment for a lot of the game, will be Zakai Ziegler, who's back with the team now. He was dealing with an injury, but since he's came back, man, he has just been on fire. 21 assists in the last 3 games, 9 steals. He's got 9 3-pointers in the last 3 games. So they've inserted him back into the starting lineup after the injury, and he's averaging 7 assists in SEC play. I know that Santiago Vescovi, I believe, is the leading scorer, but if you watch that team, Ziegler's a guy. You want to get the ball out of his hands. All right, we come back. We'll wrap it up, put it in the oven right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. If you missed any part of any of the shows, please go to hornfm.com and you can catch up with them on the podcast page. We'll let you know what's on tap before we get out of here. But also want to wish my man Harge a happy birthday. It was Harge's birthday today, so he's on the road right now. We want to wish him a happy birthday. And you can cyberstalk him at Hardball Harge to wish him a happy B-Day as well. All right, Patrick, what's on tap for you this weekend, brother?
I think it's a pretty easy weekend for me this weekend.
Oh, that's rare for you.
Yeah, I think it's because it's an away Texas game, so I'll be watching, but I don't got to work it.
And then he's gonna watch the
watch game,
Final
and then
Four.
watch Final. Yeah, so not too bad. Do we get our final picks yet?
I'm going 49ers. I'm going Cincinnati. Period. I'm going for it. I think the Eagles can win the game. I do, but I want to watch the game and root for the same team that I pick. So I'm picking the 49ers.
Yeah, 49ers, Eagles, that's a toss-up for me. I'm going with the 49ers. But it's really, it's two teams that could easily blow it. Like, both of them are young and have, a young guy that could do it. I think that Kyle Shanahan's been there before.
That's kind of what I'm going on.
I'm going that he's been at this position before, and I think he's just going to call the game better. And if you put everything as a wash, I put the coach that has been there before.
That's basically what I'm going with, too. I'm having faith in Shano. And then when it comes to the AFC side of things, I'm basically going with that ankle. That high ankle sprain is going to be a little bit more detrimental to Kansas City than expected.
I'm with you. I think that Cincinnati's a little too cocky, though.
They are
4
cocky.
times in a row is hard, man.
That's hard, man.
So I'm gonna go Kansas City.
Yeah.
4 times in a row is just really, really hard to do.
Yeah, because if we come in here and Joe Burrow's beaten Patrick Mahomes 4 times in a row, it's going to be a dramatically different narrative about the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Because some people are going to start taking Burrow over Mahomes.
And there's going to be a narrative about Andy Reid now, a narrative about Eric Bieniemy and all the Kansas City stuff, and what do we got to do? And
yeah. Oh, no, I can't wait. I actually can't wait. I'm excited about it. So
that's going to be fun this weekend.
All right. Well, thank Patrick for doing a great job, as always. We appreciate you, brother. I want to thank my man Harge for doing a great job, as always, too. And thank all you guys for listening and for participating. Really appreciate it. Also, I want to remind everybody, go to flxatx.com. If any of you had questions about the showcase, my Anthony Williams, who was on with Harge on Harge Knock Live, talking about that, you can go find out details at flxatx.com.
And if you want to check out the basketball game tomorrow, it is going to be airing 4:30 pregame with Craig Way right here on 104.9 The Horn.
Nice.
And then if we go over for the women's game, they will be playing that evening 6:45 pregame with Roger Wallace over on 105.3 The Bat.
That's why he's the man. That's why he's the man, ladies and gentlemen, the real MVP. Thanks, Patrick. Have a great weekend. Happy birthday to my man Harge. Thanks to you out there for listening, and thanks for your participation. Remember, the revolution will not be televised. We'll be talking about it right here on Ball Don't Lie. We love you guys. We mean that. Take care of yourselves, but more importantly, take care of each other. Have a great weekend. Peace.